live. Eh, I can't, people try and shut me up. We're not quite on there yet. Oh, now we are. I was just gonna say how people try and shut me up all the time. Um, but I ain't gonna shut up. Okay. Okay, so um, where is this? So, okay, so what we're doing, if you just tuned in, because we didn't record the first part of this meeting, is that we are looking at Marilyn's horse Dolly's feet. Now you need to know, Marilyn, do you care if I tell them how young you are?
Yeah, that's fine. I don't care.
Okay. Marilyn is 79 years old and she has been trimming her own horse now. How long, Marilyn?
8 years, almost 8 years.
8 years. Almost 8 years. And this was something you really had a strong desire to do, right, Marilyn?
I did, and it's been on and off because I also have a strong desire to find somebody else who can do it, and that hasn't happened yet.
Okay. But when you first started doing and trimming yourself, why did you choose to do that?
I did that because my horse was so sore she could not walk. The barn owner I have to board, and the barn owner said that I should haul her down to Anoka Equine, which is a 5-hour trailer trip from where we live to the horse place.
Uh-huh.
And I wasn't about to do that. And a friend who was trimming her horse under other trimming methods had happened to find you, Tact, on maybe Facebook, someplace anyhow. So she told me about it. And I found the page and I looked at it and I thought, well, nothing else is working. I might as well try this. And I looked at the Facebook page and there was something about a book on there and I messaged, put a message on the page, where can I find the book? And lo and
Uh-huh.
behold, you answered my message like, whoa, Linda Harris actually answered me personally.
Oh,
Woohoo!
yeah,
And
see,
that was the beginning.
okay.
That was
See,
the beginning.
it's so weird, this whole YouTube thing. All right. I noticed this. How we think people that do this stuff are somehow almost celebrities. Okay. Uh, we're all like that. But it's not true. See, I'm just a horse owner for looking for answers. And so, but I've seen that with people that they're surprised if I answer them, or something like that. They don't realize I'm not as busy as they think, really. Maybe I shouldn't say that. So, but so you've been on this journey with me for the same reasons that I started this journey, that my horse's feet were being messed up. And there was nobody I could get other than myself. So I started learning. And then so you came on for the same reason. And so you have been a partner with me in this journey to find the true foot of the horse and learn how to trim correctly and figure out how to straighten out these horses' feet. And it can be a up up and down journey, huh, Marilyn?
Oh, ain't that the truth?
You know. Um, so there's been things since you have come on board, things I didn't know that I've discovered. And only reason I could discover anything was because of all the people that are with me who are also doing these trims and searching for the truth. And also we get together in these hoof chats and hash things out. And we learn a lot just in these hoof chats. See, this is research, this is ongoing learning. And so there's been things that we used to do that we might not do now. Just like when I first started uh, trimming, um, I did the Mustang roll. We don't do any of that now. We don't heavily bevel the walls or anything like now because over time we learned that thinning down that toe like that takes away the full support of the wall from the sole. So, so we do bevel it some, but nothing like what is taught in your typical Jimmy Jackson barefoot trim of the Mustang roll, because the Mustang roll is something they develop in the wild, and it isn't a thin down, worn down toe. It is literally the toe, the whole wall is rounded. Just like a toe can flare out the other way. Well, guess what? Them folds get up and they're constantly breaking over, breaking over. It rolls it rolls the tubules under. So so that's a far cry different than just taking a rasp and thinning the toe way down to make it look like that. So okay, so we're gonna look. We haven't looked at Marilyn's horse's feet for a long time, so we're gonna go ahead and take a look at her last trim, which was the rear feet. And I'm gonna tell you what, if you go out there and you look around at these different sites and you look at the trims they do, you're going to find that the people intact, when they do a trim, it actually looks like somebody did something. You know, um, the feet look much cleaner and much more put together. And one thing you're really going to see is the quality of the hoof wall is totally different than what you see anywhere else, because when you're trimming the heels out and it pulls that coronary band down and under. It starts affecting the periopal and the hoof growth. And so you get these real scaly, dry looking feet. We don't have that. Our feet aren't perfect yet. We're still heading in that direction because we're still learning, and there's some strong learning curves. But we got feet that have good looking hoof wall. Um, so I need to go to that page just a second here. Share. Okay, so somebody might look at this foot and say, well, because of how you have been brainwashed to think of a foot with no heels and a little short, steep dorsal wall, you might look at this foot and say, oh, well, the toe is too long. Well, no, the toe is not too long, but the heels are still somewhat too low. And then they'll go, my God, look at all that heel. How could that be too low? Well, let me show you the real foot, the real feet on a couple wild horses. Just a minute here. I'm going to go to, let me open another Facebook page. Let's see. Let's see. Okay, I'm still on there. That's good. Go to my page, wherever it's at. There I am. I've been changing the picture on there and uh posting some wild horse feet. Well, here, let's look at this one. Look at this guy. Look at the heel on that horse. This is the norm for the wild horses because this is more the norm for the true horse's foot. And then there's these guys. Now, oh, I can make it bigger. Look at that. Wow, I'm sure glad they did that. So I hope you can see that this horse has a really good amount of heel, more than what we're seeing on Maryland's horse. Now,
Hey,
when you
hey, Linda,
yeah,
I'm about seeing that big of a hoof on Red Star's left front, and it's not, the coronary band is not being pushed up from the hoof wall like it used to.
oh good.
It's just curving around nice on the outside wall, but on the inside wall, it's still carved and curled in heels.
Yeah. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I'm still working on a little bit of curl on the heel of my horse as well, because it takes some time for that to come undone and stuff. Once these heels have been trimmed out and that whole foot and hoof capsule has curled around behind and in, you know, contracted heels is what it is. It takes some time for that to all uncontract, which reminds me, Janet, you had a pretty good picture there of a foot you've been working on for how long? 18 months that you have decontracted? Are you there, Janet? Hello. Anyway, we need to look at that too. She posted a picture of them. Um, okay, these guys, more heel, huge cartilages. And then, of course, oh, that's too much. And then there's my pony. Okay, so anyway, so we could look at more uh, wild horse feet, but I don't want to do that right now. I want to go to Maryland's horse, and we're just going to look at some things. Okay, where am I at? Okay, here we are. So this is post trim pictures after she's trimmed. So we're just going to take a look and we're going to see some nice things. First of all, you don't see ugly, scaly periopal over the whole foot. Look, I can enlarge this. Look at that. Say you see good quality hoof wall. Now you see a few little cracks over here where there's been some pressure on this side of the toe and maybe a little imbalance. But ideally, really, you're seeing good quality hoof wall. Here again, you're seeing, and here's the thing, the more correct your foot gets, the better the quality of the hoof wall is going to be. And so this hoof wall is going to just improve over time. Now, the thing you want to look for, the thing I see here, good things going on. I don't see this foot as having arrived, but I see it in a very good place. It's only been in the last year that we have even really discovered the full, well, I'm sure there's details we need to work out, so I'm not going to say the full meal deal, but we have discovered really the biggest part of what the true foot of the horse is, and that is the truth, not only about the heel length and the hair, how the hairline should be relatively steep, okay, and the basic structure of the foot, but the true placement of the frog. Um, we I'll tell you what, we could um there is a gal that has made a diagram, and I don't think she'll mind if we use it. We'll have to look at that here in a little bit because it shows how when the heels are trimmed out and this cartilage gets pulled down, how the frog's placement gets totally changed and pulled under the foot. So we'll look at that in a minute. But so your coronary band, which is around here and goes like this, should be like this, pretty much. This would be your foot. Hopefully, you got more soul than what I drew here. Okay? And stuff. So, your heel buttress grows from this here, right there. Now, this coronary band area has to be straight and go back like that. You see that? And so, if you're following this coronary band and you see that right here, right in here, it curves down like this, your heels are trimmed out. Not only that, but you see now, if you look on uh, Marilyn's horse here, you see this little bump here? That is always a sign that you have pretty much full extension of your lateral cartilage, that it's not pulled down and rounded and shortened. You see, because what can happen is this, instead of being clear out to here, get it. If this was like this, if the coronary band was pulled down like that, then this cartilage is connected to it, right? This cartilage is going to be like this. See that? So this, and of course, I want you to look here at how straight her, how uniform and how straight her horn tubules are. And so right now, she's got this from the coronary band right here. She's got this nice straight wall and heel buttress growing in right there. But if this wall here, where the nubbin is, where the heel buttress grows down, was then pulled down here, I'm going to make it like this, pulled down here, well then, how is this buttress going to grow? It was growing from up here. It's still growing from the same piece of anatomy, but that piece of anatomy has been pulled and curved down. So now, how is it growing? This is how it's growing the heel buttress, like that. Only thing is, they keep it so short that you don't know it's growing like that because they're trimming it off clear up to here. Trimming that off clear up to here every time. And so you're not seeing, so if it didn't grow all the way, it's still going to be short like this, but you're just going to have little teeny short tubules right in here. Well, no, sorry, they're going to be like this. You aren't going to see them. You're just not seeing it. That's why whenever you go to grow these horses' heels in, the first thing people say is, oh, look how run forward the heels are. Let's take them back down. And all that does is keep making it worse because the heels are run forward because you have trimmed the heels out and you have bent the coronary band that grows the heel buttress down at a different angle so that all it can do is grow forward like that. So let's see here. So now you can see this is pretty good straight heel buttress in here. You can see the horn tubules. Let's see, let me make it bigger.
Is that the actual buttress back there?
I do believe you do have some real buttress there, yes. There is probably, I'll have to look at the bottom, there is probably some curved around behind a little bit. But from the extension of the cartilage, you definitely got something good going there. Just a minute here. Well, wish you could. Oh, I can move it. There we go. Okay, so let me annotate again. Okay, so again, so your internal foot in there, the coronary band, I'm going to draw the internal foot, is about like so. Here's your coronary band. Okay, so, but let's see. There's your foot. That's your whole foot. And so this capsule is just a container. The first container is the skin on the foot, which is part of the largest organ of the horse. And so then you have this capsule growing a foot. And the capsule, if the foot is not at all distorted, like, okay, so when you're trimming the heels out, this little part, you keep trimming that heel buttress out and lowering it and lowering it and lowering it. Well, again, this little nubbin here, look how it's connected to the lateral cartilage because this is all one foot. Okay? Your foot extends up here. It's not just what's below and behind here. This is the whole foot. And so when you trim this buttress lower than it's supposed to be, it puts everything on a lower angle. When a picture is put in your head that these bulbs are supposed to be on the ground, well, then you're going to come in here and you're going to trim the foot. You're going to, first of all, they're teaching that right there is where the heels are supposed to be. Okay. So they trim the foot like that. Well, your buttress tubules are like this, right? So if I take that down, it's going to wind up forcing the whole thing to be growing this way. And then every time I come in, I take those heels down. Just a minute here. Oops. Go back there. What's going to happen is it's going to begin to curl this down like so. Here, I'll just draw it here. Okay, this nubbin that grows your heel buttress, see? This nubbin is going to be, I need it thicker, just a minute. Here, up there. We'll do that. This little piece here, gonna start being pulled down like this. Or a combination of being pulled down and then wrapped around in that way. That happens a lot too. The heels, which should be like this, get wrapped around like this. And pointed in towards the frog. So usually you have a combination of the two. Some horses will not allow the back of their foot to be pulled down at all. Instead, all they will do is raise back up and curl the buttresses inward. And then they constantly look like they have heels. And since they constantly look like heels and people don't believe in high heels, then they're constantly taking them down, which makes them curl in and contract more and more and more and more. Because the foot wants to stand up like this and it wants extended cartilage. So the foot is going to stand up anyway. And then it's going to take that wall that you have thinned out here and it's just going to curl it around right behind it. And you will come back and then it'll look like you have heels because now this part of the wall here becomes the heel. This part here got curled around behind the foot like that and in towards the bars. And so literally you can shorten up a foot to where it's like that. And it'll look like it has high heels, see? Look like it have high heels right here, but this isn't heel, it's sidewall. But you have made the sidewall into the heel. And this happens all the time. So what are you doing? You're taking that poor horse's foot and you're compressing it into a smaller container where, let me get some here. Got to show a picture on that. See, just like that. That's what happened to that foot right here. Look at the size of that thing. Now, that thing has been reduced all the way up to where the coffin bone ends. And so all of the foot has been curled around, well, it's been pulled down and curled around and behind. And it can do that. It can almost just literally be turned inside out, it seems.
Hey, I'm here now. I was in the grocery store.
Oh, okay. Um, I was noticing didn't you post a photo on the group of a horse you'd been working with or something?
Recently? I don't think so.
Well, where did I see that then? Because
I was talking to you. I'll have to I took pictures of the slits I put in, but I haven't put them on my computer yet. When I get home, I'll try to do that.
okay.
Then I can show you, but I don't remember recently posting anything. You
Well,
might be confusing me with someone.
it could be. Could be. Maybe there was another Janet, but uh you're the only one I remember.
That's because, I'm just so
Because you're
hard to forget.
unforgettable.
Alrighty, when I get home, I'll see what I can do. Bye.
Okay, okay, bye-bye. Uh, okay, so let us see here. All right, so we're gonna go back to Marilyn's horse. Share. Doop, doop. So she's got some good things going on here because she's got a nice straight coronary band. You don't see it curled down around the back. Now, I'm one thing that happens when you're trimming the heels out a lot of times is you'll see the bulb skin get wider and the actual capsule wall get less so that they look like they have big bulbs with lots of skin on them. And so a lot of times when you're looking at these horses to tell if they've got heels that are trimmed out, um, what you can do is, okay, so you see where the periopal skin goes, which the thickest part of it anyway. Okay, see that? You can tell there's a little line there. Well, the coronary band itself is just right up here. So this area here, let me redo that. This area here that you see right here, it can get really wide here. Like it could go like this. And this could be all bulb skin. Only probably the cartilage would be pulled down here, so your bulb skin would be very wide right here. Wide bulb, and then just a little bit of hoof wall here. So that's something to look for. This area here, how wide is it? Because it will tell you if you still got heel that needs to be grown in. If anything's being pulled down at all, a lot of times, because in the end, you should have a hairline that goes straight back and has almost nothing right here. See? So this little area, this little triangular area can tell you a lot. This is looking really good, but I know that this heel buttress is going to push up, grow up into here, and then the whole thing just a minute. Okay, this is something you would want to watch for, and that is that all of these horn tubules are going to wind up standing back up just a little straighter. See, like so. The whole foot will shift back, the heel and the cartilage here, I do believe this cartilage is going to extend a little more. And you wind up having a higher hairline, like so. And then this wall here, instead of being like that, it's going to be like this. See? That would be more structurally correct. And even when all is said and done, you can even wind up, let's see if we go from here to here. You can see where that's raised up a little bit, right? See?
Yeah, a little
Um,
bit.
yeah, a little bit. But look at your horn tubules. See? They're a little long in there. But all these will come back and shorten up and come into alignment. And you never know what kind of a height you might even have on the back of this foot when she gets her true foot, because what I'm finding is these hairlines, okay, they can be almost straight. They can be very, very high. See? Okay, so, but this foot is looking really good, Marilyn.
Thank
Where
you.
where it's at, you're doing a great job. Nice looking trim, nice looking bevel.
Thank you.
You could experiment and do just a slight more notch, about like so. Would not hurt her a bit if you get brave. Um, just a minute here. But yeah, you're doing a super job. You should get paid.
I don't think so.
Okay, so here's the other. Let's see. That's the medial. Okay, in this now, using the principles that we just talked about, these feet are like a Rubik's Cube. You know how a Rubik's Cube has 3 layers and they're all independently turned, right? So this is one side of the Rubik's Cube. The center with the frog and the digital cushion is the center of the Rubik's Cube. And the other side is the other side of the Rubik's Cube, and they all turn independently. So you can have one heel trimmed out more than another. You can have the center of the foot where the frog is, and the frog stay pulled down under the foot, where you could still have heels like this, but the frog stays stuck underneath, because there's so much independence to each heel and to the center of the foot where the frog is. So let's look at this one. Now, notice, of course, she's taken this picture from a little further ahead. Okay. See, it's good to practice taking pictures. I was noticing that today when I was taking pictures of some cadaver feet. I'm going to dissect here in the next few days. And your camera, let's see. Oh, wait. Experiment on the angle you take pictures at. Like, oh wow, that really makes it bigger. Let's see. Okay, we're gonna go back there and I'm gonna get this annotated. I'm gonna tell you what I mean. If I can find out where that is. There we are. Okay, so let's use let's just use yellow. Okay, so here's your foot. Oh well, wait a minute.
I usually take three different views on each side. I try and
Yeah,
get one straight on, one a little farther back toward the heel, and one farther toward the front.
yeah,
And
you take great
this
pictures.
this was the best out of them because the one a little farther back was too far back, and all I was seeing was both bulbs, and I knew that was too bad.
Well, it's a great picture. You take
Thank you.
really good pictures. Okay.
A little OCD.
Me too, and stuff. So I want to explain to people about camera placement and taking a perfect side view. Okay, so that you don't get a lot of dorsal wall in it and stuff. So here's your foot here. Well, that's really bad. Let me redo that. Ah, okay. Make the foot first. Make the foot first. Of course, I got a foot right here, but it's too big for me to explain how this works. Okay, so here's your foot. That's probably too small, right? Can you see that? Is it too small? Yeah, it is. Okay, there we go. Here's your foot. There's your foot, and you're looking at it sideways. Okay, and so the center would be, let's do a different color. You're over here with your camera at a certain distance, let's say right here. And if you were to center your camera here, right here, chances are you're still going to get for some reason, when you go directly right smack at the side, you still wind up getting too much dorsal wall. You don't get a perfect side profile. Okay. And so we want the perfect side profile as much as possible. Oh my goodness, I drew a bound foot. Here, I should have made that different with more cartilage. But anyway, so you will still get too much dorsal wall. You will not get a perfect side profile. But if you come over here just a ways towards about here and you aim this way, you'll get a better side profile. If you come, you have to kind of mess with it. If you bring your camera this way towards the toe, but you're aiming it towards the center or towards about right there, you're up here, but you're aiming it that way. You will get a
Там, по-моему, йогурт есть.
oh,
Какой ты можешь maple syrup положить.
there we go. So you will get a better profile shot. And no, wait, I'm doing that wrong. Hold on. Forget that. It's different trying to everybody's going, what? Okay, no, I meant to go the other direction. Sorry about that.
What happened? What
You're going,
happened
what is she
to
talking? Huh?
what happened to sighting with being able to see the far back to your
Yeah.
bulb and then just coming forward a little?
Yeah, okay. That sounds better. Okay. Well, see, kind of what
Well,
I do.
that's what we normally tell people to do.
Okay, well, thank you for reminding me of that. Scratch everything I said.
Start
Okay,
over.
start over. Okay, so one thing we do is we would come back this way and you're looking through the lens till you can barely see the other bulb on the other side, and then you will just go forward until you can't see it anymore. Okay? But then you don't take the
Wait,
picture
and then
looking this
your
way.
horse moves.
Yeah. You would not you would not take the picture from here. You still want to take it aiming kind of this way, right? I'm pretty sure that's right. Anyway, now I'm all freaking confused. I was just out taking
I aim
pictures.
the camera at the foot, directly at the foot, and I move front or back, like Janet said, just until that second heel disappears.
Okay.
Yeah,
So
if you do that, it does put you with your camera at a slight angle toward in the right way.
okay.
I've
Right.
messed around with it and tried to figure it out, but yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
Yeah, kind of like that. Like you're moving it this way, but you're still kind of aiming it right here. So your
Right.
camera's actually turned kind of like this.
yeah. Because as you try to go back to get that opposite bulb, you end up kind of twisting your camera around to find it. And then when
Yeah.
you come back, you're still at a slight angle when you're taking the picture.
Yeah, exactly. Okay.
And after you take a few hundred of them, you got it all figured out.
There we go.
Important
And
thing is to have the camera on the ground level.
yeah.
Even if it's up, I usually, we have a cement floor in the barn, which I'm very grateful for. And I usually and I use a standard camera, not my phone. And I usually have a finger on the floor and the camera resting on my finger.
Oh, that's good. Yeah. That brings up just a hair
Yeah, I
instead of.
set my phone directly on the ground and do it.
Mhm.
Can I ask how far you keep the camera from the hoof?
Oh, me?
No,
I'm,
I
I'm
girls
probably
with
I'm probably about a foot away, maybe 10
what's
inches
that?
to a foot. And then when I edit the pictures, I crop them down and so they enlarge.
What does it mean? The foot you said? The foot.
About
Oh, the feet.
10 to 12 inches away from the foot, from the hoof.
Okay, they measure in centimeters.
I'll
Um,
calculate that.
Lost
I
in
tried. Wait,
translation.
you want to try to get
I'll
the
just go with
camera lens to be filled with hoof, so whatever distance that is,
So
and
that'd
not.
be
It depends on the
uh
camera too. It depends on your camera. Like I use a real camera most of the time because my phone, the camera is offset to the far left corner or whatever, raised
Yep.
up off the floor.
me
And
too.
I can never get it right. So then I bought the cheapo camera. I sent you one, Linda.
yeah, I know. Thank you very much, my friend.
But that camera you can go straight on, but it has the flip up camera lens so that I can flip it up and see what I'm doing.
that's not a cheap one because I've got one
No,
that's a little
no,
more
no.
expensive and it doesn't do that.
No, I bought a cheap one that I did find because the first one I had, some horse we won't mention, destroyed it.
Oh, oops.
Ooh.
Yeah. So then I bought another one because, hey. And I sent a backup one to Linda when her camera was being stupid. But it does have a flip up. It's a cheapo, but it takes the best pictures if you figure out how to use it properly. But the viewfinder flips up at a 90-degree angle and you can look down at it
Oh
and see
yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
exactly what the camera is doing. And they don't make good cameras hardly anymore with that feature. They all swing out to the side. So to get one that you can see from the top, like in the old days when they used, do you remember the old box cameras where you had to look down in?
Oh
Oh
yeah.
yeah.
Remember that?
Yep.
Well, they don't make cameras like that anymore, but I did find this cheapo 100 and I don't know what it was. But like if he steps on it again, I'm not going to cry too bad.
Yeah.
But it takes you can flip the viewfinder up and then you can just stand there and just keep sliding the camera along the floor till you get it the way you want. Which is
Nice.
nice. Yeah, it's a cheapo one I found. I'll have to go look. Maybe it was Amazon. I think it was Amazon. But just trying to do it. But my phone is terrible because of where they put the camera.
Yeah, I know what you mean. I
Mine
have a
is
hard
too.
time taking pictures with a phone.
I just can't get it because, I think I have it right, but because the camera is offset to the one side, you're not right. It's really screwed up.
Yeah.
Then you're trying to hit that little button with your finger and then the phone moves anyway.
Yeah. Yeah,
Anyway,
I have a
my two
really
cents.
difficult time with that. And it's labor intensive. It's not easy taking pictures.
Well,
Yeah,
your
but
horse at least stands still.
Well, yeah, that's true.
My horse is a complete jackass.
Oh,
so when you're doing it with the phone, you definitely have to disconnect your brain from where the phone is sitting. You have
Correct.
to look at the picture and don't worry about where because where the camera part of the phone is will make the position of where you have the phone, you go, it's not right, but you just have to go by what the picture looks like.
yeah.
Took me a little while to figure that out.
It's
And
hard
the
for
other
me
thing
just to
I've
bend
learned is,
down.
yes, the other thing I've learned is before you move on or leave the barn, for God's sake, look at the pictures.
And make
Oh,
sure you have all of your views.
Right. That's the
yep.
other thing is I'll be like, oh crap, I missed one on this foot.
Been there,
So
done that.
yeah,
Yep.
I do 1 foot at a time, and then I go back and look at the 6 views. And if any of them are just nasty, then I know I can't fix with, when you put it on the computer and you can play with it. I have to redo it real quick before I move on to the next foot.
I do 8 views.
All right, so let's make this complicated, Marilyn.
Why not?
Yeah, think of all the pictures you have, Marilyn. How many do you think you got over 8 years?
Oh my.
Got 1,000?
Probably 2 or 3,000.
Yeah. See, isn't
In
that
fact,
something?
I do, because when I load the pictures into the laptop, it keeps scrolling through. I've got over 3,000.
Wow.
I keep seeing, and when starts getting up to the 3,400, then I know I'm getting close.
Uh-huh.
I save them all on a thumb drive that my husband's like, I don't want to see all this.
I have my own laptop. My husband has his own laptop because he's got like 30 or 40,000 pictures.
Wow.
His hobby is cheaper than mine.
What does he do?
Photography, digital.
Oh, well, yeah. He would have a lot of
Um,
pictures then.
that needs to be who should be coming out to your barn and take the pictures.
Oh,
There
no,
you
no, no.
go.
He does scenery and things like that beautifully. Hoof pictures, not so much, because you got to get down on the floor, and he doesn't do that real well. I get right down on the ground.
Well, you take good pictures. You always have.
Oh, thank you very much.
Yepper. And we should go. Hey, see if you can find your oldest picture of this foot. Are you on a computer now?
I'm on my laptop, yeah.
Why don't you see the oldest picture you can find of this foot?
I don't know if I can do that without losing my Zoom connection.
Oh, okay. Well, you should be able to.
Well, I know I should be able to, but remember, I'm technologically challenged here.
Yeah, if you well, at least on the phone it works. That, and I think it'll work on the laptop too. That when you it's like the Zoom will go off on its little separate window on the screen, and you can do other things while you're have the Zoom up. But I mostly am on my iPad or my iPhone, but I've done it on the laptop too. But
Well, I
You
will
can always
minimize.
come back in.
I'll shrink down the Zoom and I'll see what happens. Wish me luck. It's been nice knowing you guys.
Nice knowing you, but you can always zoom back in, right? Right?
You can try.
Oh, you can get back in. We have faith in you. You don't have to do it right now. You can wait. Okay? Are you there? Uh-oh. Can you hear me?
Don't
I'm
tax
back.
her
I'm
while
back.
she's trying to do it.
Okay.
I'm back. I gave up. I'm back.
Okay, that's all right. And maybe when I go through these, we'll look back on the group, like
I'll
that
I'll see what
group's,
I've got on my phone. It goes back probably a year or two anyway.
yeah. And who knows how far this group goes back? Well, we'll just
At
go ahead
least
and
8
go
years.
isn't that wild? It seems like just yesterday I did that webinar, um, thinking, hey, I'll just put all this on a webinar. People can watch it, and then I'll never have to explain this to anybody again. Was I wrong? Okay, let's see here. If I'd have been more of an entrepreneur, I could be rich by now. I could have made enough money because I've seen them do it. Okay, to have gone and bought me a rehab ranch just off what I make off all you people on the internet. But I am not a marketer, and I don't think I was ever supposed to do that. I don't want
Hey,
to make that kind of money because I want to expose uh I don't want what I do to be about that because the the error that has been perpetrated must be exposed. And in order to do that, a lot of times you have to show people's copyrighted work. You know what I mean? Um, for fair use purposes. And so it can't have anything to do with financial gain. How about that? Okay. So, okay, I'm going to take that. All
Hey,
right.
real
So,
quick. Wait,
yeah.
real quick. I sent to your messenger one of those cheapo phones if anyone's looking for something to play with besides their phone.
Okay. Here, we'll take a look at it real quick. See it there? Yeah, that thing is really handy.
I use it a lot, and like I said, this is a different one than I got, but it looks similar. But they work, and if they get broken, oh well.
You haven't lost a lot of money, huh?
Yeah, because
Yep.
I mean, I'm not taking my good stuff around my horse's feet. No.
Yeah, I don't blame you. And look, they're Wi-Fi ready, you know, and stuff. So that's a pretty good deal. 300 plus were bought just this past month. Okay, so back
Cool.
here now. Uh, you'll notice on this foot you got a little more bulb action going on here. Look at the skin and the round. Look how the cartilage is rounded. You don't see that bump. So this heel is still trimmed out a little bit more and bound on this side than it is on the other side. You see more bulb skin here as well. Let's look back at the other side. Okay, see the shape of the cartilage? So the thing intact that we always really focus on is what's above the hairline and back here. What's going on back here? Because if the heel's trimmed out at all, this will not have that bump. Okay, now again, uh, th this horse is going to get some more elevation back here to this portion of the wall that's growing in and may unwind somewhat the foot getting longer here, the wall. But look for this bump. Look for a nice extension out the back of the foot here because that is always a good sign. And if you look at the bulb skin here, it's not as pronounced as on the other side. So let's go back here and look. So again, you see how it's a little more rounded over here, and you got a little bit more bulbous in here. So what'll happen on this side is as this side is released and pushes this up and the foot comes unwrapped behind, this cartilage will also extend, and hopefully in the future we'll see that little nubbin and stuff. That's a major part of the anatomy. Now, what really looks good is these horn tubules and how they're in alignment, and you really haven't got. I would not call that run forward heel, because look, everything is at the pretty much the same angle, going from front to back. Um, all these though, all this is going to eventually move back. You will get more heel in, your hairline will rise, and the whole hoof will shift to back to be more upright and at a steeper angle. Okay, so we were looking at this about how great it is to see a little piece of frog in there. And so the thing we learned this year is that where we're seeing the bulbs is where the frog should be. Here, let's draw. Do the quick draw here. Let's see, what color do we want? Oh, let's do blue. Okay, so right now, I need to draw. Right now, you see this bulb is down here. And you just see the skin up here. The digital cushion lays all in here. Okay, this is all bulb skin and bulbs. Okay? Okay, so this is supposed to be, let me see, I'll do red. So this bulb here should come up here. be about like so. Oh no, and then the we'll put the frog in blue. All this that where the bulb skin is now would be frog. Like that. That's where the frog is supposed to be. Right now, this part of the frog that goes right up in here is right here. You can see it peeking out right there. See, right in there. So, uh, that this shows how when the heels are lowered too much, it pulls the whole back of the foot and the frog underneath the foot.
Linda,
Yeah.
I just sent you a picture from 5 years ago, the left hind lateral.
Oh, okay. Let's see here. Now, if you can start trimming your frog up a little better, and in between here, you will see it move a little more to start to move back. Let's see. Okay, let's look at that.
Wait, where exactly is she supposed to trim the frog?
In between the bulbs, in the back of the
Oh,
foot, in between the bulbs.
okay.
Okay, so um, let's see. I want to go and look at just a minute here. I want to go and look at just a second at the other. Okay, so this is it now. And can you see that? Let me
Mhm.
see. Yep, okay, it's working out.
You can
So
see
the
the
foot,
difference in camera angle because this one, the camera was sitting down lower because it was the dirt floor and her foot was up on a piece of plywood.
yeah, up on a piece of wood.
Yep.
And
Difference in
this
camera
was
angle.
in 20.
5 years ago.
Wow. See, look at the arching. You can tell the capsule is smaller and bent, and you see how the horn tubules go, or not the growth rings, I mean, how they're so curved. It is more in front. The view is different. Um, Maybe you'll find some other views that are a little more to the side at some point, and we can do some more comparison. Okay. Huh. I'm looking at something here. Just a second here. Oh, Linda Mugglesworth just sent me a beautiful shoeing job she did there. Okay, so now we're looking at the bottom, the sole view. Now, one of the nice things here is, Marilyn, that your sole for the hindfoot is shaped like it's supposed to be, but I'm going to tell you right now, you could probably take this toe down a little bit, because I know that these toes are not quite that pointed. And so, since the toe is just a little bit high and long, okay, what you can do is, if you can just take the whole front of this foot down, like just less here and a little more here, and kind of scribe out a little bit of toe there, this part here is stretched forward, this little nubbin here.
Huh?
And I think you might be able to scribe that out and just bring this area kind of down, like maybe several eighths of an inch at least, you know. Um, because what does happen is those toes like that will get away from you, as well when the whole foot is correcting itself, it's going to want to totally shift back and stand up. And so I would think about doing that to where, uh, let's see here. So hard to tell people. Uh, you may want to take out a lip of sole there about that much. See, that would be more like, see, if you were to be able to just kind of take it down and back your toe up about to here, it's going to help all these horn tubules here, and then do a little bit of a bevel. Um, kind of stand back, kind of stand up a little more and kind of shift. The whole foot will shift to stand up straighter eventually. So that might be something you would want to think about. Just just lightly, nothing that's going to um make the horse sore. If you feel like it's going to make Dolly sore or something like that, um do very little, but just do it a couple times. And then your apex here. Um, that probably could be taken back to probably even to right here. Pretty sure.
I did get down to where the apex went right into the sole, rounded.
Okay, okay, then I
I
could
dug
be
right down to the dirt line disappeared.
because huh, okay, because it looks well. Here's the deal: you can still thin this part out just a little more because
Okay.
because what's going to happen is this whole frog has to move. Okay, it doesn't have to. You could keep her right here forever. That's one thing we found out, that these feet will stay right where they're at forever because of that frog stay and that frog, you know. But if you want this frog to move and start going back up behind the foot where it's supposed to be, then you need to thin out, make sure that this area here is trimmed well, so that there is no uh, super firm or hardened frog there. You know, maybe there isn't. I don't know. You're the one with the hands on the foot on how this feels up here. But I could show you pictures that show uh, my frog would be like that. And then, I'd trim the frog and thin it down. And then literally the internal frog corium would pull back, and you could see where it looked all funky grainy here, and the new frog stay would be established back here. I've seen this happen multiple times as the whole foot shifts. And because that whole frog has either the horse, it was never fully released on the growing horse, and or uh that when the heels are over trimmed and it pulls the whole back of the foot down, and then the frog grows like that, well, there she stays. See, but this looks very good. you know you go around the web and you look at these professional trimmers and their trim jobs, and frankly, with a lot of them, I'm just mortified. I'm like, how can you charge for that? you know it don't look like it did anything. It's like they beveled the wall and that's it. Okay. And then charge you 65, $70. Unless they're a hoof guru, then they charge you 300 for speaking to you. Let's see here. Okay. Undo that. Yep. This old frog here. And so we can see that the bulb skin is stretched here. So we know that this whole frog is wanting to move back, Marilyn.
Yep.
That's really interesting, that pocket.
I know, and I wondered if I should dig it out, and I thought, no, No, because you can't put anything back if you shouldn't have taken it off.
Well, one thing you can do is you can start making a central sulcus here, even though there is no such thing. All right.
Hear
People
you.
listen. People listen to this go, what? She's nuts. Okay. Um, there is a sulcus. It's just not in the center. It's in the back of the foot. See how this is wanting to really open up, actually?
Uh-huh.
You know, so you could just make one. That's what I had to do with my horse's back feet because I had just let it get so solid in that area. Is finally I had to start making one. And of course, that time I thought it was the central sulcus, but it was kind of in the back of the foot. And so I was going ahead and just taking that frog out, and that helped that frog expand and move. Because,
It's interesting. It's been about 3 weeks since she was trimmed, since I did these.
uh-huh.
And her frog now is ground level. It's expanded and it's flattened from being on the ground.
Oh, wow, really?
Good frog contact, right?
Oh, yeah, just what you need. Hey,
And I noticed, on the back there's kind of a ropey area, and I'm thinking, one of these days I'm going to have to soak her feet and do a little trimming on the frog because it's going to need it.
yeah. Well, I think you're doing a good job.
Well, thank you. I
Um,
appreciate it.
y- just keep track of this. There might be a little bit of jamming or something there, but
Yeah, I can
I,
see that.
you know, and this is the right hind. So we looked at the left hand, this left hand, right hind, lateral. Okay. And so still she's got some good extension in the cartilage. You can't see that bump, but we also see that there is some bulb skin here that's kind of widened. See it? So we know that this is going to grow up and push that up, and that the back of this foot could expand some more as well. And eventually, here too, here, I'll tell you what helps is and what I've been doing with Valor is I take toe and leave heel, um, so that I will continue to stand him up. Because the higher you can get the back of this foot, the more the cartilages will start to release any contraction and binding you have. Because it is the pulling down of these cartilages and them wanting to pull up that contracts these heels. So if you can get some elevation to the foot, it it stops that pull that the foot automatically wants to exert on the capsule. And see, this is probably your most bound side. Now, what's interesting, but maybe not, but maybe. Well, it's definitely the most upright side, isn't it? You know, um, but I also think it's a little bound. Look at the red right there. See?
Uh-huh.
So this side is dealing with some inflammation because it does have this binding, and you can see the curves in the hoof capsule there. So this is probably your most bound heel, this side being pulled down and stuff. And see, this is the right hind. Yeah, same on my horse. The right hind medial heel was the worst heel of all 8. See, and we got to remember we got 8 heels we're dealing with because the horse has 2 heels on each foot, and they're independent like a Rubik's cube. You know, see, it's really interesting looking at them, at the differences in them. You know, yeah, and well, you can see she's her bulbs are, you know, kind of off the ground there. Well, this side I think eventually will come unbound and probably be more like this side. See, so we looked at the side of it and it is bound, isn't it? Because when they bind that cartilage here, see, it's interesting because a lot of times what you'll see is both heels look like that on both sides, or both heels look like this on both sides. So you have a bound heel on this side. Wonder what we can do to help that. Okay, look at the frog. No, that's the lateral side. Never mind. Okay, so this side was more trim. Look at how this side was more trimmed out, pulling the bulb over and that side out. And then that, what's that do? That pulls this side in. So I would trim some more of these bars out. This one especially. Because otherwise, because see how it's kind of over that way, it will not let this wall come back in. But it's not really the worst part about this foot is where it's just bound right here, because this side is pulled over that way and it has a habit of pulling the other wall in. See, so I think if you can get this wall loosened up and get that bar over and trim this frog back some, it's going to work towards helping this side. Because I had that on all 4 feet, asymmetrical, and this is not the worst I've seen, but asymmetrical, where one side's wider and one side's really narrow and over. And you can see it kind of in the frog here too. See how your frog is wider over here? So I would come and take some of this frog out right here and take this bar down, all that in there, because that's going to help this side come over more and straighten up. And you can see it in the bulbs too. Where are we at? Okay. This bulb's real wide and this bulb's more narrow. See there? How does she act on this foot?
She seems okay.
Okay.
She does have a muscle tear on her left hind. I think it's a Gaskin muscle up just down below the peak of her butt. She's got a
Oh, okay.
little torn muscle right in the back. So her stride is a little uneven just from that.
Okay. And so any trimming this frog over will help, and start making a central sulcus, which is really rear sulcus, and making sure that you get that back there. Okay, because when we look, because see, because you're in a place where you're getting enough salt where you can bring toes down a bit from here to here, so that you can stand her up more to elevate the back of that foot, which will really go a long ways in releasing the cartilages so that they quit trying to pull the foot into a distorted form. At least this is what has been my experience so far. I started letting Valor's heels get 2.25, 2.5, because I thought, okay, if lowering their heels has a tendency to make that cartilage want to pull back up where it's supposed to be, and then it pulls that wall with it and wraps it around behind. If I could leave these heels long and elevate the back of that foot, it's going to take that pull off so that the heels can widen out. And so far, it's been working.
On,
Plus,
on
oh,
Dolly, her heels, when I did the trim, were 1.75 inches, but with the cement floor and the dirt, she's wearing them down. But I think I don't think they're wearing more than the rest of the wall. They don't look like they're
Yeah,
rockering off or anything. Just the whole wall is being worn down.
yeah, and I think she's growing good. It looks good to me,
Okay.
and something else I started doing, I'll show some pictures of it, is I started because my heels were strong, okay, I started allowing more heel to grow to elevate the back of the foot while at the same time making a cut in the heel buttress so that it would release the buttress coming in to grow straighter and further back while actually becoming like a prosthetic heel lift. You know how you ever seen people, they got one leg shorter than the other and they got a shoe?
My mother did.
Okay, so that they can, okay, well, I'm doing that, but with like both heels. I'm leaving the heel there, like the foot might be 2 inches from hairline to with a lot of, also got to remember this part here. You got to make sure you're getting that and not just 2 inches of bulb skin. Um, so I've been cutting these heels in a certain way, and Valor taught me to do this when he about tore his cartilage off and cracked his whole heel off. That's the best side. That's the best foot he's got now. That's the best heel he's got out of all 8. The one he tore off. Cracked the whole hoof capsule off up there, and then it grew out. And I thought, hey, I wonder if you could cut them heel buttresses, because it's just a solid piece of wall there, and leave it for height. And so I started doing that, work like a charm. Okay.
Do you cut just down through the bar, or how do you do that?
I'll show you. I'll show you. Well, see now, this looks good. As I said, all I do is clean up this bar here real good. Um, uh, yeah. And on all your feet, you might want to think about taking down the toe a little bit to start to stand her up a little more. It has to do with the structural uh, aspects of getting those horn tubules so they're standing up straighter and at a steeper angle.
Right, it just makes sense.
Huh?
It makes sense.
Okay, good. To us old lady mechanical minds.
The only problem is with the wearing off, with the cement floor and the gravel road and stuff, she does not grow any heel. It's an inch and 3/4 after she's trimmed, and it's an inch and 3/4 before the next trim
Okay,
when she hasn't been trimmed.
but from what I see, she's adding heel into her capsule.
Okay,
So what's happening is she is growing heel, but it's staying up above.
okay,
See? Um, I mean, because the back of her foot's looking really good.
okay.
Yeah, I mean, the walls look good. I mean, yeah. So, you've got her standing on that wall. So the growth, it's really hard for the growth to push out, to push out and down. So the back of the foot is bound down some anyway, right? So there's a constant pull of it wanting to go up. And so as the wall is growing from up there, the back of that foot is lifting up and it's taking that wall with it.
Okay.
See? So that wall, your heels are growing. It's just staying in the capsule.
But it must be up where you can't measure it then because it's an inch and 3/4 from the hairline.
Well, because what happens is you get more actual heel buttress and less actual bulb skin. It can be the same distance, okay? But when the heels are trimmed out, you're going to have fat bulbs and just a little bit of, hoof wall. And so what happens is this is going to get thinner and thinner and rise up while the heel becomes more pronounced and pronounced.
Okay, so less bulb, more heel.
Right. That's
Gotcha.
that's what it'll start to do. What it's doing it now. It just takes some time. Okay. All right. So okay, so I'm going to
Hey,
show.
I just sent in Messenger, this is Janet, 8 photos of the quick and dirty I took of my slits.
Okay. Let's see.
I didn't know if you wanted to see them. I mean, go
Yeah.
look at the rest of the hoof. It's between trims, and I'm trying to let them grow. I'm trying to let them grow to see where things are going to chip on their own and what's going to happen.
Okay.
I think I was over trimming, and I'm just letting them grow for a while.
Okay. Well, yeah, I know that. I know that on me too. Um, except finally, whatever Valor was going through, he went through, and now he's got these big, massive feet that he's popping around on like he's on springs.
Well,
So,
I told you I'd done a whole lot of work, and then I didn't think he was doing well, and then he curled in some more, and his bars actually curved instead of being straighter. So I over
uh-huh.
trimmed his bars, I think. So now I'm letting everything kind of grow
Yeah.
back and just
Well,
letting it watch because he got a little footy on me, and he hasn't been footy for a while.
yeah. Well, see. And that happened to me too, but
Well, live and learn, you know.
yeah, I don't think it was just the trim though. Like I said, I didn't do that to his back feet and
Right.
he was discombobulated. So I think what happened was it was
I did
both.
it to all 4.
Oh, okay. Got zealous, huh?
I did it to all 4 on the same trim. Well, I trim all 4. I just do all 4.
Yeah.
So when I trim, I do all 4.
Yep.
So whatever I do to all 4 basically. Well, at least I trim all 4. So I was trying to dress down the bars. I took the
Yep.
frogs really low.
Yep.
Um his walls were at sole level. Didn't do too much, but then he became sore, and like I said, not real sore, but sore-ish.
Yeah.
And then his all of his heels curled in a little bit, and his bars actually bowed out a little, which I hadn't had as much of. So
Uh-huh.
I'm like, yeah, thinning of the bars at the stage he was at, because he doesn't have all the heel height, was a mistake. Learn,
Uh-huh.
live and learn. So now
Well,
I'm letting him just kind of grow again. Just
yeah.
I'm trying not to touch him.
Okay. I know how
Except I
that
did put the
is.
slits in, and I had to trim his frogs. I trimmed
Well,
his frogs down because they actually grew above the walls
uh-huh. Yeah, they
height
grow like
wise.
crazy, don't they?
And I think that was making him, I know, but it was making him even more sore.
Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
thinned them down a little just
Hmm.
to get them with the sole, nothing crazy. And then I put those slits in.
Well, looks good to me. You know, looks good to me, but like you say, like I think, because I was getting so zealous because this frog was moving so much, and we got all these different tactics that we use. Well, you maybe not ought to not do them all at the same time, like do a take down the
Timing is
frog, do it.
everything.
Huh? You what?
Timing is everything. And
Yep.
timing is everything.
Yeah.
And your Valor's hooves are so far advanced to my horse's hooves
Yeah.
that it just was his feet couldn't handle it.
Yeah.
But like I said, I learned, like you learn a lesson even when things don't go right. You
Yep.
learn.
Yep.
So
Absolute.
I've learned leave the bars. I can take the bars down, but don't dress them down. Because all
Yeah.
along I've been taking them down to find the white line, but not dressing the sides down. So I'm not
Yeah.
going to do that again. And then I've been aggressive on the frog, but I think it was the frog combo bar dressing was just too
Yeah.
much. The
Yep.
two of them together.
Yeah. I can look at this foot and tell a lot moved.
Linda, I have a question about the bars.
Okay.
So I have a very run forward, no heeled horse,
Uh-huh.
and the bars have been smashed in for years because never addressed them.
Mm-hmm.
And as whenever the farrier or the trimmer would come, or when I rockered them, it wasn't part of the trim cycle to clean out the bars to stand them up or anything. But what
Yeah.
I'm finding now is they're so smushed all the way to the hoof wall that I'm bringing them back. So um, it was just said that if you take too much bar off, it could hurt them. But I'm just not finding the end to my bar. I'm just the more I shave off because I'm using that little round rasp,
Uh-huh.
and because it's easier to get in because I'm not using the power tools.
Yeah.
But the more I I take off, the more I shave off, the more I'm finding. So I'm just real I'm not real clear on the bar situation. Um and
I have to tell you something. When I was doing the hoof that's on the screen, his back feet were really bound. They were bull nose. They were taken in from the front. They were taken in from the back. They were just smushed. I kid you not, it took me a year and a half of slowly sanding through all that till I literally think
Oops, you broke out.
I'm in
you
the
mentioned
garage. I
okay.
really think it takes forever to slowly work through all those layers. You know,
Yeah.
True.
Yeah.
because if you get in there and like you want to just get it all out, which I
Mm,
really wanted to, and then the back of my brain went, you do that, you have no soul under there.
mm-hmm.
So I just, every time I trimmed them, just went in and removed a little bit more in the area where I could see it, but I never took it all out because you got nothing under there for a while. I think in theory, as we thin out the overlaid bar, it allows the sole to start growing. And so you're growing some and removing some, and it's a balancing act.
Yeah,
I
I
agree.
agree. I agree. I wouldn't want to try to take it all out at once, but as far as, I take out as much as I can and I come back and it's like, wow, there's still so much more to take out. And what I've found in this last um, trimming is that bar had grown over the seed of corn, that it had connected all the way to the hoof wall in the back of the foot.
Wow.
And
Yeah.
yeah, so and we talk about false heels. Oh my
Mm-hmm.
gosh. Those were falsies.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, this is a long process.
How
And
long have you been doing it
um
in general?
in general, trying to take back the bars.
Just in general, tact and doing your hooves, following what you're learning.
Okay. What I would say about 15 years. I've
Okay.
tried to take it over. I did Pete Ramey in the beginning, and I just basically did the 10 to 2 toe trim with Pete Ramey. I never felt he said it's okay if you're amateurs, let the farrier do the bar or do the heels. So I did 10 to 2. And I would let and whatever barefoot yehud that I thought knew more than me, I'd let them come in. One cut off my frog and made my frog bleed. I didn't even know about taking down the heels. I didn't even know. All I knew is I had a beautiful 30-degree hairline. Then I
Oh, yeah. Me too. Yep.
But wait, so my question is, how long have you been trying to, by yourself or whoever's doing it, do the tact and start trying to remove the overlaid bar?
okay.
How
So
long have you
so
been trying to do
okay,
that?
I thought you wanted to know the whole
No,
story.
no, not the
Oh,
whole
I
story.
did.
Just, wait.
I
Well,
did.
finish it for Linda, then get up to my answer.
Yeah, I did.
So
I found that very interesting.
yeah, so then I ran into a group of ladies that were hosting a clinic with David Landerville, and um, I had him trim my horse and my mule, and they left that clinic sore, but he said, well, that's expected. You know, you have to, no pain, no gain. So
Mm-hmm.
I continued to rock her the heels for roughly almost 4 years. So,
Wow.
yeah, and then I've made my mistakes with tact. I take things maybe to the next level, like bringing back the toe, the hard line on, the toe. And now I know to raise the toe. And I've been doing tact for about 3 years.
Yeah, and
So,
and we don't like I used to really bring back the toe, but I don't
mhm.
even do that anymore.
No, you've told me different, and
Yeah.
you've given me the recommendation to bring up the toe, not back, because
Yeah.
I had a hideous bull nosing, and I would ask the farriers. It's like, because I'd have sliders on my shoes, on my horse, and I
Uh-huh.
said, why are they so bullnosed? Can't you do something? And he'd just look at me like, what are you talking about, lady?
Yeah,
Because
they
they just kept sliding that foot more forward to get
yeah.
that level plane to put the shoe on.
Yeah.
So I have a very beaten up Rubik's cube that I'm trying to
Yeah.
put in place and fix at the same time, and it's just interesting to
Frustrating.
hear yeah, it's frustrating. It's some days I'm elated, and other days I just go home
Okay.
and cry.
Yeah.
No,
So
wait. So the hooves were the back ones, the bull-nosed ones, or the front?
the back were bull-nosed.
Okay, so were mine. So after all the work you've been doing recently, can you say that the bull-nosing has
Improved.
dissipated or improved or gone away, meaning improved, gone away?
Yes.
So
Yes.
be
That's cool.
happy right there. That's amazing.
Yeah.
That's amazing. For when I finally got rid of the bull nosing, I thought, oh, Lord, thank you. Because that means that at least you've gotten the foot long enough and given it some room for the foot to, it's expanded. So you're going to have a lot of buried bar. You're going to have a lot of buried stuff because it's been buried in there a long time.
And
So,
I still have buried. In fact,
right.
I just realized I had bar growing over the sole in the seat of the corn and growing over uh because the bars are layered, right? And so
Correct.
you got the lamina layer, and then you got the wider, inner layer, and then you got the outer wall. Well, you don't realize how that can just kind of insidiously start growing over everything,
But,
and so I found that on my own horse. So, it's all part of learning and stuff like that. So,
but I wanted to let her know that, like, just having the bull nose
oh
go
yeah, that's
away
great.
is a major landmark.
Yeah,
Like that is such a good thing because that was the first thing you had to overcome was getting your foot big enough to get rid of the bull nose.
yeah, that's great that that happened.
I mean, she should be so excited that that is away. It's gone.
There
No,
you go.
really,
See?
be very, very happy that you did that and you managed to get it. Be very happy with that success.
Yeah.
Thank you. That was with experimental notching as well.
Oh, really?
Sometimes I would
Good.
just say, you're getting a notch today, and we'll see what happens. And within a couple of like a week and a half, it would just level out. It's like, what the
Isn't that
heck?
funny? I did the same thing.
Wow.
I finally put notches in and the bull nose, it let the foot elongate and the bull nose started going away with the notches. Same thing.
Wow, this is awesome.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
two of us have had the bull nose and didn't get anywhere until I put in some pretty significant notches. I figured at this point, what the hell?
What the heck?
And I put in significant and then I watched and when those notches grew out, the bull nose also went away.
Wow, that's awesome. I'm glad to hear all this.
So
Oh,
that's two people now that it did the same thing.
Yeah.
Oh, what the
How
hell?
about
And put
Well,
that? How
notches
about
actually,
in.
I
that?
yeah.
had also, so it's three people.
All right.
Hey,
Absolutely.
all right, let's have a party. Hey,
Yeah,
And
I can
actually,
add to
three times a
I tell
charm.
you more that I bullnosed my own horse, right, left hind. And I double-nosed it also. So I know it all.
Well, and I can add to the group too. So been there, done that. And when I started with my pony, he had no bars. His bars were totally across his whole sole. And so as I started taking things down, then you started to see where the bar was laid over on the sole. And it still lays over on the sole. I'll trim it back, but by the time I trim again, it's back moving back across the sole. So, but it took a while to even find where there was a delineation between the sole and the bar material.
Yeah. It can
You know,
look just like sole.
And he had a bull
sometimes
nose. He's a bull nose too when I started with him.
True, same.
you know, we have to celebrate those small successes that people think, not too much about them. They're big successes.
Yeah.
You know, we
Yeah.
need to celebrate. And then if we all talk and find out that we all kind of did the same thing under the same situation and ended up with the same results, that's a pattern.
It sure is. That's awesome. See? And
Hey,
I
Linda.
Yeah.
Well, oh, sorry.
Oh, go
And
ahead.
I wanted to add that the horses that are self-trim and have really ugly hind feet with huge notches, you never
Uh-huh.
see them bull-nosed. Never.
Yeah. Yeah.
I've
Okay,
seen
that makes sense.
how many, like 100 maybe, and I went to see Przewalski horses also,
Yeah.
and the ugliest feet they have in terms of the long toe, broken quarters, exceptionally long toes, and but they don't have no contraction, they're not bound, and they don't have and they just break everything off, and that's it.
See, that's great. I found some pictures. I I found some pictures of a foot. I got the feet off this paint horse that went blind, and he was kept out here in about a 40-acre pasture and self-trimmed his whole life. I mean, the owner, she had a pair of nippers. She might have nipped off a long chunk here and there over over a number of years and stuff. Nothing to make any difference. And so I found the pictures of those feet. I think I'll show those to you today. But on as regards to them bars, I think you just have to keep working at it, and it's a learning thing when you got that hoof in your hand, because you can be looking at something and it is smooshed over bar that you don't even know is there. I've been finding this out. But like Janet was saying too, I think that's great that the bullnose has come out. And these feet, they're improving, but sometimes it's in small steps.
That color? Yeah.
I'll have to post some pictures.
Okay,
Because
yes, I'd like to see some.
they were pretty. It was pretty embarrassing, and I might have posted them at one time and removed them because I was so
Isn't that
embarrassed.
terrible that we have to feel that way?
Yeah.
Why do we feel like we got to make excuses for our horse's feet? Oh, I've felt that way.
Yeah.
I understand exactly how you feel. But this is a research group. So
Linda, I'm sorry, I just sent you also my little success. I mean, it's not so perfect, but it's again about notchers and about the hind feet.
or what did you send me?
I sent you my little success.
Okay, I'll look at that.
But it's with the hind feet and with the notches, so it's not bad.
Yeah, that looks great. Look how that heel stood up.
Well, I
Wow.
still have a long way to go, and it's very hard because it's also changes how the CI joint is on top, and it's kind of influences the heels,
Uh-huh.
how they load. But at least the tubules moved.
Yeah. Well,
And every kind of straightening. So
yeah, I think that's a dramatic change.
it
You
was
know it?
pretty bad, but it's actually quite, it's just in April, so it's not that long. And
Yeah.
my problem is I can't soak the feet. We have 40 degrees and it's really hot and I can't do anything, in
Yeah.
terms of water.
Yeah.
You know what? You know what else I've been thinking and talking to my Greek friend about is how long it takes for some of the things we're doing to actually materialize and make a change.
Yeah.
Like, how long do we need to wait? A month, 2 months,
You never
3
know.
months until
8 years.
some of these
Yeah.
things though,
8 years.
but it's not an immediate thing. And then you go back a month later and you're like, oh, it looks the same. Well, maybe it hasn't been enough time yet for what we've already done in the past trim to make visible changes for us.
But I think,
Yeah.
with the photos, we really can see the changes. Like here on the second photograph, you see I started to, like, in exceptionally bound feet, you don't see the tubules. Like
Yeah.
you don't see the lines because they're so smooshed. And some people, when I was helping, they were just saying, "Oh, well, the farrier rasped the hoof." But I said, no, it's because they're so bound. You don't. It's like almost looks polished, and you will see. Like I work now with the very bound foot, and it didn't have. You couldn't trace the
Couldn't find the
angle of tubules.
tubules.
You couldn't find the tubules.
Mm.
And what is interesting now, when she's expanding, there are tubules, but what is interesting, the alignment of the tubules is not the same. You see, like the horizontal, we call them rings, right?
Yeah.
Horizontal rings.
Yeah. They've
So
straightened out a lot.
very interesting because I was measuring the rings and the tubules angles between these rings. And what I found is that, and then I was measuring the angle where the periople is at the heel, and heel can have several angles as the hoof expands. I mean, that's not a very good example, but I have better examples of really bound feet. So
Hmm.
you can find the angle on top of 60 degrees, then 55, and then like 45 or 35, whatever, as the hoof expands to the back. And the angles of the tubules between the rings usually correspond to the angles in the front and the back.
Hmm. Yeah.
Do you understand what I just have a picture of it with the markings, but it's not. But so what I'm saying is that the angle of the tubule on the top at the coronary band will be different to the angle of the tubule in the middle or at the end of the hoof wall
Hmm. I
as
understand what you're saying.
as
That's
they
because you've
expand.
got old growth,
Yes,
changing growth, and new
yes,
growth.
Yeah.
yes. So cool. So we can trace even if we don't see, but some details will tell us that the foot is changing.
Yeah. I really like these pictures. I really like the way that heel stood up, you
Some.
know, and stuff, which taking it down barefoot style would have just made it worse, but then it'd look like the ideal barefoot hoof, wouldn't it?
No, he
Take
wasn't.
taking off that nub in there instead of doing what you did. That just looks great. You did a super job.
And you
And
see that the tubules in the front of the notch are still bent,
yeah,
so I have to switch them so they can pull back.
yep,
And I'm just really trying to be on top and uh, in the front of the notch. Because until those tubules don't drop and grow out and straighten, they can't really move back
yeah, yeah.
through the
I
notch.
I understand what you're saying structurally. Uh, it's like different parts. You have to work with different parts in order to allow other parts to move. You know,
Yeah.
like if the toe was much longer, okay, unless you kind of took it back, this part couldn't move back. But then if you didn't take, if this was too long here, your toe couldn't move back. So we're really learning how to work with these horn tubules and get them to come back in sections, you
Yeah, so
know.
it's all about, and then you see the sections of the hoof wall that is where the tubules become more visible because the inner part is expanding there.
Mm-hmm.
So I think also the definition of the tubules will give you some information about the state and about the shape of distortion of the foot at that time,
Yeah.
of the external foot. So that's why it's fantastic that we can actually take the images and we can, make them bigger and do the close-ups because you can really read and study a lot.
Yep.
Uh,
Yeah.
f- yeah.
See,
I just,
that's see, I just think that's great as far as really examining those horn tubules and seeing how they work and the growth rings and the horn tubules, the expansion and how it's happening,
so
and how
I
to
just
do it.
I just sent you one picture and then I will shut up
Oh,
about,
you don't even say that because
how I
what you're sharing is vital and very interesting.
maybe, I'm not correct, but it's
I
just
mean,
my
look at that. That's awesome.
and I really cut out that notch. It's quite big, but the problem with this hoof is that at the toe quarters, it was just black separation. So I just decided to be bold and I just made a big notch up into the foot because it was separated anyway.
Yeah, I don't see any problem with that at all.
Yeah.
I like the diagrams you've done, all the angles and what's going on there, the growth coming in, the different
And
angles that it is.
angles might not be correct, it's just for my visual more, so I can
Yeah.
trace. And you can see up above the notch, you
Yep.
have that space between 48 and 50, and you don't see the definition of the tubules in that area.
Huh. Yep.
You see? That means that probably the back of the foot, internal foot, is so squished, I
Still,
think.
it's still bound, isn't it?
It's exceptionally bound.
Yep.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
anyway,
It's
wanted to
interesting. Now, I don't know if this is anything, but it almost looks like your uh, your your growth rings are straightening out. See, like they were more curved here, they're less curved here. Okay, and even becoming well, and look at how this is sticking out here. So you're adding length to this foot here. I see.
so
Yep.
we are trying. I mean, it's very bound, so I have to be careful with the toe.
Yeah.
But my other thing is what I found, and I wanted to bring it up and ask for people maybe they have experience with it. With
Mm-hmm.
exceptionally when you have a very bound foot with a thin frog, what
Mm-hmm.
I experienced is actually when I started to trim the frog, the hoof became more bound. That's my experience. I'm not saying
Can you
maybe
say that
I'm
again?
wrong.
Say
Yes.
that again. How was the frog
And
when you started?
yeah, and I'm really curious. When I started to clean up the frog on this feet, the feet started, they appeared to be more bound. I can even show the solar shots. And I think I also sent them to Linda maybe a long time ago asking for the opinion. But what I saw that they're contracting.
Now wait, was the frog unhealthy, really skinny with a deep? What was going on with it before you
It
trimmed
was
it?
I will just find the collage and I will send it over to Linda and we can open it and have a look. But I think the food I made actually the food to contract with that. That's what I experienced.
That can happen.
And that's what I was thinking because, and that's why I wanted to discuss it. So if you have and I will find this image and I will resend it to you again. So I,
Yeah.
now here it is. Actually, if you scroll in our correspondence, you will have it, Linda. If you go up in the messenger,
Okay, I'm headed that way.
no, you're heading the wrong way, I think. Okay, I will just press and I will resend. I will resend to you the whole batch. I found it already. Yeah, it's loading. And then if you scroll, there should be the one with the solar view. Yeah,
This one?
yeah.
Hmm.
And
Well,
I was just thinking, maybe when, like, if you think about physics, right?
uh-huh.
The whole is constantly, it's bound. So it's moving kind of inwards one way. And if it's so bound and it's pressing, and then I remove whatever was there, first what it will do, maybe it will compress. And especially we are in the dry climate,
Hmm.
you know? I don't know. I'm just trying to find answers to that.
Yeah.
Hey, on my
Elena,
phone, it's hard to read the dates. Which pictures are the
Yeah.
oldest and which ones are the newest?
These the oldest?
Wait a second.
So Linda,
On the top is the.
Linda, do you remember we just looked at Chance's feet not long ago?
Yeah.
And I sent you the pictures, one of the more original pictures, and he looked like he had contracted more.
Uh-huh.
Um, so I'm
Mhm.
wondering that might be, and I actually did send you earlier pictures of his feet, like from the very beginning, and then the last trim that I did. So if we look at those after discussing this, we might can see some difference or something
Okay.
similar.
Okay, yeah,
Uh,
we will. Now, Elena, which ones are the most recent?
The top one is the recent, the top left.
This one here. Okay. Okay, well,
The top left, yeah.
chances are, let's go down and look at the original.
The original is the dirty one and the one next to it.
Okay. Um, from what I see, he has no frog stay there. It's just the bulbs turned in. There's no frog stay growing there. He'd be one of those if they removed the coof capsule and they'd go, "Oh, look at the frog spine," because it'd just be a thin, pointy piece of material. You know, he's got contracted heels here. He's got no frog stay growing in here at
Well,
all.
she has pain, and she was saved from the killer pen. She's
Uh-huh.
20 years old. She was pregnant. She has lots of issues.
Yeah,
But she's an old lady, and I can learn and try
it's
to
okay.
help.
Yeah.
So she has exceptionally contracted heels because look at the separation. It's just she can't pull more. She should have huge feet.
Yeah. Well, I want to look at a side view.
Linda,
Hmm.
this is Devin.
Oh,
Um,
hi, Devin.
hey, I in the middle of getting a mani pedi as I'm listening, so I haven't chimed in much. But anyways, um,
Many
but it's great that we are on this topic because I'm noticing that I'm reaching a point with a lot of the horses that I'm working with where I've been actually trimming and applying these tactics long enough to see some results. And
Hmm.
as we're talking about like these heels contracting, I do have a couple cases that are severely contracted. And I'll tell you, when the back of the hoof is set up in a way where the weight bearing is pushing and compressing everything together, and they're very contracted, um, I have noticed that, removing the heel buttress and really thinning out the bars tends to make it more compressed.
Hmm.
But another thing I've also noticed is like what we're talking about earlier about a balancing act.
No,
If your
yeah.
heels aren't high enough and if your toe is set up in a way to want to pull things forward, if you weaken the back of that hoof, that toe is going to take over your strength and pull it forward. And the weight, if you weaken it, will push that together more. So I've found if you don't have your toe of your horse in the right place and the height of your heels in the right place, if you weaken the back too much too soon, it will contract on you.
Hmm.
So I've been kind of playing with that. But I sent you some pictures of I've talked about her before, Annie. She was
Uh-huh.
a pregnant mare that Dr. Morris put shoes on. She's, champion jump horse. And Amy finally got tired of dealing with her being lame and just turned her out to the pasture and decided to breed her.
Uh-huh.
And she was just kind of filing on her feet a little bit. She blew a bunch of abscesses. But anyways, I came along and I started trimming her in the beginning of her pregnancy. And she's had her baby now.
Okay.
But it's been
If
long enough that I've actually got pictures
if you
of.
sent me some pictures, you sent it to that other Linda Harris.
Oh no. Okay.
Let's see, we are friends on my new page, right? Yep. Oh,
Yeah.
let me write to you. I'm gonna say
Okay.
hi.
Okay. Yeah, because then I can send them from one to the other.
Yeah.
Oh, there you are. Okay. Hold on one second.
Here,
I'll take a second
send
here.
it to the new Linda.
Okay.
So with Elena's current foot in the upper left corner, we wanted to look at the side view of this.
Yeah. Yep. Let's
Because
see here.
like what would be the next plan of action for a foot like this?
Well, I decided to leave the frog alone. That's
Leave
what
the
I did.
frog alone. Yeah.
Leave the frog alone, and I thought I would do notches and just try. What I want to focus on is releasing the middle of the foot so it can unfold,
Mm-hmm.
without worrying too much about the frog of the moment.
Is this the same foot?
Yes.
Okay. Well, the bulbs are wrapped up, uh, curled in and wrapped up in towards the center of the frog.
Yeah.
That's the problem. And so, in order to get that to undo, you're gonna have to take off more bar because the bars are gonna hold it right there like a vice. Let me save
Already did.
image.
I went there and I took more bra down, but I
Well,
left the frog alone.
okay.
Yeah.
Where are we at here? I'm lost. Hold on. Eh, eh, eh. Eh. Oh, I lost that picture. Oh, okay. Just a second. There we go.
So
Ha ha. There we go. Just a minute. Share. There. Okay. So here's that foot. So, so, okay. So on this one, whenever this was, okay, you didn't have that space. It still had a piece of frog over it, didn't it? Right there. See it?
which piece of you're talking about?
Okay, I'm talking about this foot right here.
Yeah.
Okay. Now you can't see that crack like you can see it in the foot you got now, right? Because it's got this piece of frog over it, right? See?
Yeah.
Okay, well, that's all periopal.
Yeah.
So none of that is real frog anyway. It's all periopal. It's what Bracy Clark, they mistook that and called it the periopal frog. They called it the frog band. Okay,
Yeah.
because the
We
periopal.
also had a very interesting post on the page the other, I don't remember when, but I commented on it when the whole periopal just came off in one piece because it was soaked. That was
Okay,
quite
yeah.
cool.
Yeah, so there's probably some frog growing in there, but right here you have cornified frog corium, and then uh, right between the bulbs. I mean, let's look at the back of the foot here. I mean, look at that. That's tight as a drum. If at all possible, I would be trying to stuff stuff in there, get stuff in there, get moisture in there, uh, get rid of this periopal frog, as much as possible. Because this here, and if you have bars like this, um, well, I mean, I'm just saying that is still too much bar because
Yeah, I
the
took them down
yeah
I took them down more.
Oh, okay. Okay. Let's see here. Let me close that and go back to,
Hey, Linda.
yeah.
Or, hey, on the cornified frog,
Mm-hmm.
would you go ahead and remove all that material and expose that cornified frog?
If if I had enough heel,
Okay.
you know, um, uh, because that periopal is there and grew over that to hold the
Mhm.
hoof capsule on the
Yep.
foot. So I wouldn't take it off. Like this foot has a lot of heel and things like that.
Yeah.
I don't think it's gonna harm that foot. Maybe.
Yeah. Exactly.
And my God, no. You know.
Well, with this horse, I just want to go slowly. I mean, I'm
Yeah,
not in, she suffered for 20 years
yeah.
and she's better now. So
Sounds
I'm
good to
not
me.
going, what's the point,
Yeah.
There is no point. I see her every week. I'm going to go see her tomorrow because I work with other horses there.
Uh-huh.
I just take another set of pictures and tell the owner to try to water the ground or
Yeah.
whatever to pick out.
Yeah.
Yeah,
When I
I
say,
can't do more.
sorry, just,
Yeah, go on.
yeah, when I say remove, I'm just meaning what allows you to remove.
Yeah.
Okay.
I know what you mean.
Okay.
Um, yeah, this her feet are pretty bound, you know, and contracted. And so you're probably just doing the right thing. You know, it's hard for me to sometimes give advice on this stuff
But that's
because,
why I put the question here because we
yeah,
all have different
yeah, because
cases. So like
I don't
Devon,
want to
it was
give bad
that
advice.
Elena. Yeah, because I was feeling that way of what she said. I said, well, they bounce, so there must be, mechanical explanation for that. And it was
Mm-hmm.
great that she chipped in and yes, I have cases like this, and
Yeah,
yes, you do. You can sense that in a bound foot.
yeah,
So great, thanks, Devon. Yeah.
yeah, before I
You're welcome.
give you bad advice.
No,
Because if
Yeah,
you never
no, if
tried it,
you,
how do you know? You
when
just
you get a
don't.
chance, sorry. I was just gonna say, when you get a chance, the hoof that I sent is severely bound,
okay. I'll go
and
look at that
it
right
actually
now.
has a frog stay now,
Okay.
so it's
Wow.
pretty
Look at
cool.
how that is so broke out and it is so got so much separation in the quarters, huh?
Oh, wait.
Okay.
Go back, because I'll talk about that one. That's actually the last picture. Go to the very
Okay.
first. I set them in three separate bundles.
This one
Yeah, like
here,
no, keep going, keep going.
or
I
just a
sent
second.
you I sent you several in one group,
Go
and
to
then
the
I sent
first
you
one.
several. Yeah, they'll go slide up all the way to the top or
Okay. It's
bottom.
about to. It just has this one,
Uh, yes, that no,
that one.
no. Like you're looking at the ones I sent you last. Look at the
Oh,
ones I
okay.
sent first.
Okay. Sorry.
It's okay. So maybe all the way
I'll
on
find
the
him, I
other side to the
promise.
right.
Okay. Here? No.
Let's go up. I think that was the or go down. I don't know. Yeah, right there. Start
Right
where
there.
your little finger's at,
Okay.
I
This
believe.
one right here, because that looks pretty contracted.
There we go. There it is.
Wow. Yeah, that thing is really smooshed together in it. Just like
Yeah,
you
so
just
that
rolled
is,
it up, and just
yeah.
wow, poor
And she had
horse.
blew an abscess on the left part of her hoof. She could barely walk.
Poor thing.
And so
That is definitely a
she was
ingrown
actually
toenail.
sounder. She turned
Once she blew the
Yeah.
abscess?
So she turned her out to pasture.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, and before then, I mean, she had been lame for a while, farrier after farrier. And like I said, I don't know, we don't talk much about Dr. Morris, but he's the inventor of the Morris shoe. And he actually shoed her. And then shortly after, I mean, like right after, she was so lame, like crippling lame, that Amy finally was just like, I'm so done with farriers, pulled the shoes, turned her out to pasture, and was just like rasping on her feet herself,
Yeah.
got her sound enough where she could walk, and then she had her bred. And then I came along, and this is what I had to work with. And this picture was taken, I believe, December 31st.
Wow.
So
What a
I started
mess.
trimming her. So if you go over one picture at a time, you'll be able to see
Wow.
like where she
What a
was
mess.
when I
Yeah. Look
started
at those humongous bars. Imagine how that
and see how it's
feels.
compressed. I mean,
Yeah.
I know, and she limped. She was really
Poor
sore.
thing.
But I mean, look at how like the whole bulbs are rolled in, and any
Yeah.
frog tissue she has is all the way up at the apex.
Wow. What? How painful.
Yeah, so if you slowly go one by one, you'll see like after that what her feet look like. Like that's she actually had some heel on that foot. The
Yeah.
other foot is under and but it wasn't as bad. So I mean I could show pictures of that one. She actually has a pretty deep frog stay going on now, but that
Okay.
right foot is worse. So I decided to share those pictures.
Oh, great.
And that's
Wow.
after I trimmed her.
Wow.
If we can make it.
What a good job. Look how nice that looks.
Right.
Like 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 you really did something you should get paid for.
You know,
You
and
know?
the back of her heel bulb didn't move at all before. They were like solid. And like once I did that, I could grab her heel buttress and pull and
And
actually
pull
see
them
the
apart.
movement. Yes, and see the
Yeah.
movement in there. So, and we treated that crack there just because, you know, even though
Yeah.
you could
Well,
still
look
get in
here.
areas where
Look
there's
at look at
oxygen, you can
that.
get thrush when it eat in there.
See? Look at that compared to that. Look at that compared to that.
Amazing.
Yeah. Look at the
Devin,
bars. Yeah,
Devin,
look
what
at the
tool did you
bars.
use?
Pretty sure
Uh,
that the
um,
buttress here is clear up twisted. Wouldn't be surprised if the buttress is growing as bar in there. You
Oh,
know, think about it, how it gets totally look, the buttress nubbin's gotta be over here somewhere. So this would be sidewall, and then your buttress has been
you're
totally
welcome.
turned
Thank
in, so
you.
you got nice big heavy duty buttress growing as bar.
Yeah. And just a whole
Wow.
false heel.
Yeah. Compare, and so you got rid of those bars, and man, I bet she went, oh, wow.
Oh my God, that mare, there's pictures of her standing where she would throw her feet kind of out wonky from front view. So you could see how she started standing better. And when I first started trimming her, oh, bye, thank you. Sorry, I'm leaving the salon. I just got a manicure and a pedicure.
Oh, good for you.
You know, I trim horse hoofs. I got to make sure I take care of my own.
You bet.
But anyways, so um,
Wow, that's just
anyways, there's
awesome.
front pictures. Like as you keep going, it'll kind of show her progress. I haven't like paid attention to a T. So there's only like 3 separate sets here over the last 7 months. Now go all the way back because that's like one of her last pictures. So you want to go
Okay.
back to like almost where you were and then just kind of go one picture at a
Okay.
time.
For some reason, the pictures are being wonky on me. Just a minute. Eh,
Oh, and while you're
okay.
finding those, I want to, you know, just kind of explain here that
Is that her?
yeah, and that's actually how she stands now. That's her little
Uh-huh.
baby's foot next to her 'cause she's had her
Oh,
baby.
we're the
Um,
baby.
but if you go back to kind of where you were, where those really horrible pictures were,
Okay. Let's see. I'm gonna have to find them again because. Okay,
they
that's
should
not
all
it.
be within
Hold
like the
on.
first. I tried to send them in like 3 separate, you know, chunks.
Just a second here. Okay, so it wasn't that one.
No,
so Devin,
Okay,
while
it's
she's
this
hunting, how
one.
did you do such a good job on those bars? What did you use?
just my knife. That's all I
Wow.
Wow.
use is a hoof pick, a knife, nippers, and a rasp.
Well, this really shows how those bars hold that foot, huh?
Yeah, really, completely. And luckily, I mean, this mare had heels. Now, in a case like this, if somebody chopped her heels off, she would have walked right out of her capsules.
Oh yeah, no kidding. It'd
And
been
that
dead
abscess
horse
blew.
walking.
Yeah, I mean, that's almost what she wanted to do anyway. So if you go back just kind of like one at a time in each one of those pictures to the left, you'll be able to see like where she was when I trimmed her and then how she was standing. There you go. Like perfect.
Wow.
That picture right there, your cursor's on. See how she wants to throw her feet out all wonky?
Let's see. Oh, yep.
And a lot of
I
that
can
is
see
just
why.
compressed bar and heels that are either too low will cause caudal heel pain, so they'll stand in wonky ways
Yeah.
to try to relieve that. So when I first started trimming her, this mare leaned on me, she pulled her feet away, she had anxiety. I mean, it took me probably
Oh,
2 hours the
girl.
first time I trimmed her. Now she sleeps while I trim her.
Oh, that's awesome.
So if you keep going, you'll get to see her in February. So this is me coming back in maybe not, yeah, beginning of February. So I trimmed her in the end of December. So this is beginning of February before I trimmed her again.
Wow. Just such a difference. It looks so much more comfortable than it did. My God, it looks so uncomfortable.
And
You
she was
know?
like sound by now, walking around comfortably.
Wow,
And,
that's
and the
awesome.
great part is, as this mare got fat and pregnant, she got more sound.
Isn't that great?
Yeah, like
Good
completely
for
sound by the
her.
time the baby came out when she was huge.
Yeah, good for her. See,
So that's
that
how she
looks
was standing after
so much
that.
better. Let's go back and look at this. Look at
Now,
that.
and her feet start
That
to look
looks
pointy.
painful.
Her feet start to look pointy because I straighten the capsule by completely removing the quarters from forward the heel to the toe quarter.
Okay.
And that also, helps elongate the capsule. Now, with the run forward side, of course, I significantly lowered the toe, but I
Uh,
left the thickness of the hoof wall and addressed the quarters.
okay.
And then, of course, adjusting bar and everything, and that slowly has helped move things back. I actually got heel on her now, and I do have pictures of her. It is awesome to see the amount of frog stay I have between her heel bulbs.
That's great.
But yeah, so
See,
that's
I
after
mean,
I
look
trimmed
at
her that time. Now, see the bruising in the frog. That is from
hmm
movement.
Yeah. But you mean from the frog itself moving?
From like the foot moving. You know how we
Yeah.
talk about
Yeah.
after you create movement, you get all this
Yeah, I
bruising
got the
sometimes you'll
same
see.
thing in the frog. It looked almost like it was cut,
Yeah.
but it was the frog pulling back and pulling out of the current frog.
Yeah, that bruising is actually broken blood vessels from deep in the
Yeah.
capsule that just seep through all the tubules. Even the
Yep.
frog is very porous.
Oh yeah. Well, the frog, how healthy it looks and everything. That's great.
Yeah, it's starting to move back too. So if
Yep.
you keep going, um, that's after I
Wow.
trimmed her there.
What a difference. Here. Well, hold that thought. Let's go here and then let's go here.
Yeah, and this
Let's
is
go.
December 30th, first, I believe, to February, sometime in February.
Yeah,
I can't
you're
remember.
starting to get real frog,
Yeah,
you
yeah,
know,
getting rid of all that,
that
getting the bulbs back where they're
to
kind of
that.
down where they're supposed to be.
Yeah. Wow, it's looking good. Watch just
So
from that
that's how she stands now. Look at that.
to that.
That's how she was standing. Yeah.
Yeah, boy, that's great. Look at that. That's awesome.
So that was her when I
Look at
trimmed
that
her the other day.
frog. My
And as
goodness.
as we're talking about these horses and a balancing act, I will tell you that when you've been trimming a horse for a while, when you get them to an area where you get the false sole come out. Basically, I made a video on this foot where I talked about how the sole has like sunk up into the capsule. Really,
Uh-huh.
what I meant to say is when your internal foot moves back into place, all the false sole will come out. So you'll have
Huh.
lots of concavity because the sole is now back in the bowl underneath the coffin bone where it should be.
Uh-huh.
So when that happens, you usually have, if you look at the hoof from the bottom view, which I didn't send you a picture of that, I'm just explaining, you'll have new growth from your cornet band to about halfway down the hoof wall.
Mhm.
And when that happens, you reach a point where you have enough connection that the internal foot moves and the bottom of your foot, the sole plane view, will start to release everything that it doesn't want. So this is a result. This is what your feet start looking like. And a lot of people will start panicking. My horse's feet are falling apart. When actually what you have is a very tight, connected, healthy capsule growing halfway down your foot, stabilizing the internal foot and moving it into place,
Mhm.
leaving behind the old capsule that is
Yeah.
still flared and distorted and necrotic and pulling still in a poor direction. So what you're going to see is a lot of bruising in the lamina because you have the internal foot pulling back while you have the old capsule pulling forward. So there's tear in there.
Yeah, that
And
makes sense.
you have the bottom capsule. Now, as you can see where that separation is, that's
Mhm.
actually separated between hoof wall and that rim you see is built up old hard lamina. And so you can see where I trimmed out a little bit, you can actually see the lamina. It's squishy. So basically, the sole, lamina, and hoof wall is grown longer than where it actually should be. So it's separated because it's pretty much dead, right?
Uh-huh.
So, but the hoof wall, this hoof wall you see here is actually part of the old capsule that is now disintegrating and crumbling away because it's no longer connected to anything.
Yeah.
So what you find is you reach a point where your feet start almost like they're wanting to fall apart on you towards the bottom of your feet because the
That's
bottom's
interesting.
flared and
Wow.
pulled, but the top is tight. So the bad part about this is you have to come in and you have to roll this hoof wall that is old because what you don't want is it pulling and distorting your new growth. And you're
Yeah.
not really going to have full support until that new growth grows to the ground and starts bearing weight and encapsulating basically your hoof wall. So there's a moment where you're trimming more because what you end up with is double growth. Basically, you have the sole receding, everything like wanting to recede, but you have
Mhm.
growth at the same time. So all of a sudden you pick your hoof up and you're like, oh my gosh, how'd my hoof grow so fast? When really you just had tons of false sole just chunk out and it's gone. So it makes it look like there's more hoof wall.
Yeah.
So you're trimming more, you're rolling the edges, you're dealing with a lot of chips, cracks, weird stuff like that. So you got to roll it. And a lot of times that leaves them with a little bit less structural support of a healthy, thick hoof
Yeah.
wall to stand on. So they're almost more on their sole. So you reach a point where you kind of can see a little bit of tenderness after a trim simply because the fact is the hoof wall that they're standing on is not supporting. It's almost wanting to grow out instead of straight down. You see what I mean?
Oh,
And they
yeah.
just start breaking out in chunks. But anyway, so that's before I trimmed her. But as you can see, the back of the hoof is opened up. The frog's starting to move back into place. And in the next picture, you'll see that we're starting to get a frog stay and tissue growing in between the heel bulbs. So,
Well, this is really interesting, this case and what you've done here. Wow. I mean, look at that frog. Holy Hannah, and the way the bulbs have widened out.
yeah.
Uh, wow, that's just amazing. Here, let's go back and look at this again. From that, well, and there's another. Look at that.
Yeah, that's after I trimmed her.
Yeah.
See, so I filed down so you could still see where the hoof wall wants to crumble and separate.
Yeah. Wow, that's great. Wow,
So
you're doing a
originally
good
looking
job.
at that foot, you'd be like, "Oh yeah, it's not very good." But considering where we've
Oh my
came from,
gosh.
yeah. But
Yeah.
from December to July, so 7 months.
Well,
No,
look
not
at
July,
that
beginning
there.
of August.
And then look at that there. See? That's like
Yeah.
Frankenhoof. All right. And look at that
Uh,
there. I
can I
mean,
ask
this
a
is
question?
wonderful.
Can I ask a question? Sorry, from Devon and from Linda and from everybody. When we work with the bound foot, often I see that the hairline is straight, and when you start unbinding it, it becomes more like a V.
Hmm.
You know, it's not straight anymore. And I have some thought. I thought about it. Why I see that? I don't know whether Devon paid attention to it or she has anything to say, because I will just say what I think, and then I just want to understand what's going on basically. So I just thought when the foot is bound and both heels, right, both sides of the foot are bound and rolled inwards in the same manner, the hairline will look straight, like with certain trims, right? You will have the small foot with the perfect straight hairline because they are trimming the heels out evenly and binding the foot in an even and balanced way, if you want to say so,
Yeah.
right? But when we start to unbind the foot, the whole stuff that is inside is coming out because all the line is appearing, the bulb, the how you say, the hairline is unrolling, and it's revealing the true state of the foot, right? That's why it's becoming, that's why the hairline starts migrating and one becomes higher, the other one becomes lower,
Yeah, I
because
think
the foot is showing the deformity more.
Yeah, I think with this foot, like if you were to, like when Linda talks about spooling, if we were to put spools
Yeah,
on both heels and
yeah,
roll these heels in tighter, that hairline
yeah,
that you see where the frog stay should be would be rolled into the back of the foot,
yeah.
bringing the hairline together, making it look straight. So I think as it comes out, you're right. And we've talked about bulbs before, and I've been dealing with some bulbs that are unbinding and other horses with severe bound cases. And I wanted y'all to think about if you had a horse with a relaxed back of the hoof, bulbs separated, and you put them in a vise and smashed them together. There's only so much room before what's going to happen is one bulb is going to want to shift above the other. You know what I
Yes.
mean? So a lot of these bound feet, that's what's happening. There's just not enough room, so one shifts, and that ends up looking like the high heel, and then we just keep trimming it out, right? But this hoof, I do want to let you know that the left side is the side that blew a huge abscess, and notice that that's her better heel now. Um, but with this hoof, when I trimmed it, I had to lower that left side just a little bit because even though it was the higher heel, it also has the higher hairline. See what I mean? So in that case,
Yeah.
that heel actually was longer. So in that case, I lowered it just a little bit because you can also see some bruising up in the heel hairline where you could tell that
Yeah.
it had maybe had a little bit of impact. She's landing heel first now. So when she's landing, that heel being higher caused a little bit of
Can
what
I
looks like impact bruising.
Well, this is great. You've just done a fabulous job.
Thank you, Linda.
that on the left side of the picture? Uh, can I just ask you, you lowered the left heel on the picture, on the left side of the picture.
Yes, the heel that I mean, this is after the trim picture, so they probably look a little bit more balanced. But if you look at the hairline, the higher heel also had the more raised hairline. So in this picture, it's
Right
kind of
here.
opposite of what we have talked about. In this picture, I was actually dealing with a heel that was actually higher than the other side, causing bruising up in the hairline. So I did lower that heel just a little bit to balance them.
Yeah, it looks like
But
it's causing some pressure.
Mhm.
Oops.
So, yeah.
Okay. Well, that's really what you did is really fantastic here. What a lucky merit to have you. That's a lucky owner.
Devin, just my last question. If you look at the hairline, what the hairline indicates you, the shape of the hairline.
Like this one
Yeah,
and this
because it's
one.
also important, I think, to talk about this. And they can be, and the hairline can be concave and convex. So probably it would be good if we have time just to talk through it so there is more understanding also. Like, what does it say? would that mean that one side is the tubules appear more run forward and the other ones would be more at a higher angle?
Well, and let's see, which picture is that? Also, hold on here. Snap.
Or one would be more spooled in and the other one more pulled forward?
See,
And
I thought we
also,
could
yeah,
look at this part too. See,
yeah.
um,
Yeah, it's definitely
yep,
pulled forward. I mean, if you look, even though it's a huge change, that hoof is still severely bound. It's not
So
even close to being.
yeah.
the right side will be more pulled forward.
The right side is more pulled forward, yes.
Okay. So you would keep initially you will keep that heel higher so it can stand up a little bit, right?
Yeah, yeah. I didn't take any length off that heel. I lowered the
And then
left heel.
so you would leave the right heel higher, keep the height, right? And you will
Yes.
lower the toe quarters, right?
Yeah, and I keep the toe quarters balanced. To be honest, a
Okay.
lot of times if I have enough hoof wall to work with,
Yeah.
I relieve the quarters on both sides because what I found is even the run forward hoof wall, you also have jamming and that in that part of that on that side of that toe. So the growth is on both sides. So you can't just remove one side and not the other. So I removed both because you'll have one where it might seem like it's more stood up and the hoof wall is almost more like flared and pulled out, but the other side
Mm-hmm.
is jammed up. So I will relieve both. And what happens is it relieves both sides. It allows both heels to move. It allows the hoof wall to relieve on one side and pull back on the other. And in the long run, it straightens out the capsule. And so
Well, it
if I
makes
can, I'll leave the heels. I don't touch heels, even if they're a little unbalanced. Usually I'm dealing with the long heel being the heel bulb that's pulled down. So I will leave it long because another thing I've found is if you put a bound hoof in vice grips, basically, is what's happening. These are being crammed together. One bulb is going to like want to sit above the other because there's not enough room for them to sit side by side. So the one that sits above the other is going to be the pulled down bulb and that heel is going to look longer. But if you put that foot down and the horse stands on it,
they
the weight of
spread.
the horse will spread it, push those bolts back together, and your heels are actually the same length.
Oh,
So I leave them. But in this case, you know, when I pick her foot up or when she stands on it, you could still tell that left side heel, the hairline is lifted and the heel, like if you measured it before I trimmed it, especially if you measured it, that heel was a little bit longer. So I went ahead and lowered that side a little to balance them more and also relieve the jamming that, you know, was causing some bruising up in her hairline. So
Cool.
You said
Good that we're talking
horse,
about it.
when the horse stands on it and puts their weight on it versus holding it up in the air, I like to assess heel height with the horse standing on it.
yeah, because the bulbs will move.
I don't do it up in the air. I always put the foot on the ground, either take a picture or do some crazy ass maneuver where I can look at it. I kind of
Yeah.
bend over, look between my legs, I do all sorts of goofy shit. But I like to assess people look at me like she's drunk, right? Um no, really. But I mean, I always assess the heel height when they're standing on it. I've never done it with my up in the air.
Yeah,
Hmm.
because the second you lift it and the weight's off of it, you know, it's going to move. Like, even if they feel stiff and you can't make them move, the weight of the horse will. You know what I mean? So,
yep.
but yeah.
Hasn't anyone else stood way behind the horse, got back there as far as you can, put your head down all the way to the floor and went, "Oh, that looks good."
Yeah, just lay on the ground underneath them.
No,
Underneath them.
You get a better
no,
angle that way.
I can't get up. So I do the go all the way back, bend over, look between my legs, get my head all
Oh,
the way to the
that's a
floor.
way to do it.
Oh,
Yeah,
that
you
looks
know,
good.
Better
you
watch
lay
that.
between their back legs and get the
Yeah,
picture
no.
under the
Yeah,
front, there you
no.
go.
No. If I lay, what I do is bad enough. If I lay on the
Take a hold of their
floor,
hocks, you know.
they're going to be like, oh my God, she's lost it. She's drunk, whatever.
Oh, well.
Oh, that's funny. Yeah, I actually took pictures of me trim or videos of me trimming this horse when I was there, and my plan was to post it on our website.
why
I've been
don't
so
you
busy I haven't
why
had a
don't you
chance to do
start
anything.
do you have a YouTube channel?
No.
Have you ever
I
thought
mean,
of getting one?
I do, but I started it years ago when I made videos of my fish tanks.
Oh, well, that's okay. I'd love to see you trim.
We could
Okay.
call
I
women
wish
of
all you guys would make some videos.
yeah,
Probably
women
some of you have, and I haven't seen them, but
I mean, I've posted some on Tact. My plan was to post some more just to share these different cases that I've dealt with. But I've actually been doing it long enough that I've seen a trend of like, okay, with this hoof, like how much do I have to move here and here? And then like, yay, it's working. And then, okay, this one, it contracted a little bit. So in this case, removing this and this and this, when this part of the hoof isn't ready, will actually cause the opposite of what I'm trying to accomplish. So,
yeah. See,
and
that's great. You're learning that,
yeah,
you
so just
know.
trying to put those together with each foot. But I had made a post about saving Dan, a really bad foundered horse.
Uh-huh.
And we still have a long road to go, but he had a laminar wedge and I took pictures of his last trim. I'll have to share them
Okay.
maybe on our next, I'm driving, so I don't have time to share them right now, but maybe on our next one, I don't want to take up every
Okay.
every Zoom call we do. But I actually have like healthy sole plane and peachy colored connected lamina in his toe now.
Oh, good. That's
I know.
awesome.
So, and it was like an inch separation. His laminar wedge was huge. So,
Yeah.
and he's walking better. So, yay.
Great. That's great to hear.
Yeah, we're just reaching the point where he's got half of a capsule that's in great shape,
Hmm.
and the other half is his old deformed, uh, foundered hoof capsule, and it
Yeah.
has absolutely no integrity anymore because it has no more connection. And so it is just crumbling away on us, which is leaving him on his soul. So that's the hard part.
Yeah.
You do reach a point where you almost have a setback before things get better because everything starts changing so fast. You're trimming him, tons of false sole coming out, and then that part of the hoof wall is no longer connected, so it tears off. And so you're trying to like trim it and maintain it all so that the new growth coming in isn't distorted from the old growth still wanting to go in the wrong direction. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? So
I I can relate.
yeah, so you reach that point. I'm kind of dealing with that on a lot of the horses now, and I'm like, calm down, this is normal. We have reached the halfway point and the
Okay.
bottom part of the hoof starts falling apart.
Well, that's great. I'd love to see some pictures and I'd love to see some of your videos.
Okay, yeah, I'll post
Okay.
some. I need to take a moment and lay down and spend a whole day posting videos.
There you
But
go.
but real quick, I'll share on another chat. But I know we have talked about my gilding JD before in the past.
Yeah.
I have now noticed, I took some pictures of him, but I thought this case was the one I wanted to share the most today. But I have noticed some heel buttress cutting through the tissue of the back part where the periopal meets the frog,
Great.
um, coming in, and I finally got some live soul growing in the seed of the corn, where
Oh,
like
yeah.
he
Okay.
was
Good.
hollow. Every time I'd go in, it was just chalky there. Nothing was growing.
Mm-hmm.
And I
Yep.
got some hard, healthy, live soul growing in there. So I'm like, yay.
That's great. Yeah, I know what you mean.
Yeah. So I got him some cloud boots too with a wedge pad to elevate the back of his feet. So I'm hoping that'll help too.
Well, that sounds great. Yeah, getting that soul in the seed of the corn is a real victory.
Yeah, and it's hard.
Yeah.
When you
Once
got
his feet open up, there that it hasn't grown there for God knows when.
yeah. But yeah, and with some of the other horses that, maybe weren't so bad off, they came back a bit quicker. I can tell you if you're dealing with the low heel, especially on the back feet, um, when the seat of the corn is hollow and all your sole wants to go forward and your
Yeah.
ankles are almost opposite. So you're just crushing your heels. I found in that moment that really keeping that bar and frog cleaned out just to allow that back of the hoof to not be bound so that there's a place for that sole to go. But then at the same time, you really have to make sure that your toe is not above your heels. And sometimes that means removing more toe than you would want to because
Yeah.
the true sole is going to grow out where it wants to and then start sloughing off. But
Yeah.
sometimes you have to lower that toe more so that
Yeah,
your heels have
absolutely.
more elevation and it'll slowly start moving back on you. And with him, it's been forever, but I'm finally getting that on him. So yay.
Well, that's great. Well, I hope you share some pictures of him with me.
I
I'd
will.
like
I
to
will.
see where he's at now.
Yeah, I will share them with you.
And
Definitely,
then
his front
uh
feet were bothering him, but his back feet had no heels. I'm really starting to get heels on his back feet too. So
good
I'm like, yeah.
deal. That's yeah, I'm kind of going through the same thing. My back feet are kind of behind the front, but everything is moving well and blossoming out finally.
Yeah, I hate that. The back feet are always behind the front feet.
I know, it's just funny you say that,
Mm.
Uh, well, we never trimmed the back. We were never worried about the back feet. They always seem to be able to, adjust to whatever, but the front feet. And what's interesting too is that is what Bracy Clark was talking about when he was talking, and he said about 9 years ago it became evident to me that the reasons put forth for the contracted feet of horses was not real. And he was specifically talking about the front feet. Um, because when you lower the heels on front feet, they have a much more drastic effect than the rear feet. And so that's why you find so many horses with laminitis in the front feet, but not in the rear.
Yeah,
Um, and let's look at it this way. If it's metabolic, why aren't the rear feet being affected as much?
right.
Right? So he really talks a lot about that. And come to my find out now, Bracy Clark is really hard to read, okay? Because the guy, okay, you look at the scholars back then, they were all taught Greek and Latin, all right? They didn't have cameras. So when they did their research, like we have pictures, if we didn't have pictures, imagine trying to describe this, okay? The whole process. All right. So he had to describe everything, and he would have a sentence that was a paragraph long, and you better keep focused in where he was going at the start and what happened in the middle and where he wound up at the end. Okay. So really, like I was telling Ella, kind of makes you want to stick an ice pick in your eye rather than reading. you know, be, because because we're stupid, all right,
Yeah.
compared to him, all right. And so I used to be able to read things like that better because I had studied history and read a lot of old scholarly stuff like that. So I taught myself to do that. But now, after getting addicted to scrolling in reels, I have the attention span of uh uh of nothing, you know. And so then when I would start to read him again, I could only read for a little bit and I had to put it down, you know, because I could not stay on it. But now I'm getting so I'm better. Okay. And
Yeah.
so I found out for sure then that he starts out thinking in his 1809 book that it's nails that are contracting these feet. The nails on the horseshoes. He doesn't think it's the horseshoes. He thinks it's the nails. Then
Hmm.
as time goes by, he thinks it's the horseshoes, and he tries to invent a horseshoe you can put on without nails. Wasn't all that successful. Finally he invents a shoe with a hinge, thinking the foot is expanding. But by 1829, he has come to realize that it was the false doctrine of frog pressure. In his 1809 book, he compliments Lafosse for this wonderful doctrine. By 1829, he knows it's false and that it's crippling horses all over both nations. And
Yeah.
that is the reason for the contracted feet. And so now, uh, now see, what I find interesting is I did not know that's what he thought. I knew he said Lafosse's frog pressure doctrine was false, but I also knew he thought it was nails and stuff. And of course, the barefooters go, "Oh, it's horseshoes. He was against horseshoes, and he supports us." Which is very, very far from the truth because they're really quoted him out of context. But now I've managed to get in there far enough that I have seen that no, ultimately he came to the conclusion that it was Lafosse's frog pressure doctrine, that the frog has to come in contact with the ground all the time. That was doing it because you got to lower heels to get that.
Yeah.
See, and so all these pictures and all this stuff, myself and the group and everything wouldn't have known that without everybody else. You understand that? Okay, supplying pictures, talking about this stuff, everything like that. We discovered this in a group chat, in a book chat, where we saw how when this gal totally took the heels out of this horse, and then over the next 3 days she took pictures, and you could see that foot lift up and take that sidewall and just pull it right around behind it. See, so this is a we discovery. I never would have seen that ever if we didn't have these hoof chats.
Yeah.
See, and just the odds and ends that people do and share, because she was new to tact and she misunderstood, because look at all the other info out there telling you to take those heels down hither and yon, and she totally those heels out. And so for that horse to want to try and stand back up, and I'll bet this horse here that you were doing had very strong cartilages. And so every time they pulled her foot down, she said, "Nope, I'm going back up." And so as she did, it pulled the buttresses around. I mean, literally, it looks to me like it bent all her bulbs around and took the buttresses and put them in where the bars should be. In this foot here. No, quit that. See here? I mean, where them buttresses is in here somewhere, and I think that part of this bar she was growing could very well have been buttress. So
That's funny. I thought you were talking about the other foot, but in my mind, I was thinking about that foot right there, like what she had done to try to support her hoof with what she had.
Yeah. Well, and it's just mechanical. It's mechanical. It's just going to happen.
Yeah.
The way those cartilages are shaped, the way they're rounded in like that. Okay. And so cartilage belongs in a certain location, right? And so, yeah, you can lower those heels, but that foot still wants to stand up where it's supposed to. So it's going to pull up anyway. But as it does so, it's going to pull all of this around behind it and underneath it. So anyway, this is really a wonderful case. What you've done for this mirror is just really awesome.
Thank you, Linda.
Okay, well, people, unless we want to do something else, does somebody have anything they want to look at or discuss or anything like that?
I sent you pictures, Linda, Kathy.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. Let's
While
see
you're
here.
pulling that up, can I share one fun fact?
Sure. Yes. Share a
So,
fun fact.
do you
Let's.
remember? Do you remember the gal that was using the Apex trim? And I think I've shared. Everybody probably remembers the pictures I shared on here.
Yes, dear
Well,
Lana.
yeah, her mare is so lame she could barely walk. And
Uh-oh.
the other day
That's
she's
too bad.
standing.
Sorry to
Yeah,
hear that.
I know. She's standing in the stall, holding her foot up, and Amy and the gal that owns her are going back and forth, back and forth. And of course, she's afraid to go with anybody else to lose her progress. She says she's got on her.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, she's like, okay, so when will Devin be out again? She's like, she'll be out on Monday. Well, she did end up blowing an abscess on the one foot that she was holding up,
Uh-huh.
but she's been lame on all of them. But the abscess blew, so she is feeling better. So then the gal's like, no, never mind. You don't have to have Devin look at her. I'm going to continue doing what I'm doing for now. I was like, that poor thing.
What what are they exactly doing? Because she was all about growing heels, but she
Um,
didn't
she's
trim frog.
She still has heels, Linda, but this lady's got her butching her toes off all the way around, leaving this mare on nothing but her soles.
Oh
And I'm
yeah.
not talking rolling the hoof wall a little bit. I'm talking rolling it all off at a 90. I mean, like the steepest angle you can, straight up and down. She has absolutely no hoof to stand on, but her
Yeah.
heels,
That's
you
too
know.
bad. Sorry to hear that.
I know. I
You
feel
know,
bad. But her feet are so tiny, and even though she has heels, they're so bound that she's just it's almost like what this mare looks like I just sent you guys, except for the frog don't look quite as bad because she is
yeah,
trimming the frog a little bit, but not as much as she should to be able to keep those heels relaxed and open. So they've just completely spooled in on her as she butch. So basically she Chinese hoof binded her horse but left high heels on it.
yeah.
Tell you something
Taking
real.
down too much toe. That's interesting.
Yeah.
I have a friend.
See, oh, go ahead.
I had a friend with two separate mares who were trimmed by the same farrier, the first horse for many, many years, into a can foot, basically. I kept telling her before tacked, even, I'm like, something seriously wrong here. That horse, while she was riding, rolled its foot, broke its leg.
Oh
Gets
no.
Oh wow.
Yikes.
mare, gets another mare, and same farrier, years later, can foot, basically again. This one breaks its leg out in the pasture.
Wow, that's terrible. That's so unusual.
Well, if it rolled,
Yeah.
can foot rolls. So
Yep.
thank God with her third horse, that farrier moved out west to foresee his, I don't know, whatever, to follow his dreams or whatever. But I don't know who's doing her now, but I watched two of her horses be trimmed into breaking their legs.
That's terrible.
But that's what
That's just
happens when you
terrible.
get people to understand and see it. You have to just sit back
Yeah,
and watch what happens. It was horrifying.
that's
I
terrible.
know, and
It
I
is
feel bad
horrifying.
because her mare is still ouchy, and I'm like, man, how lame does this mare have to be? But see, she wants that cookie cutter mapping where she sends a picture, and the lady's like, yep, roll her whole toe and trim her bars a little bit, which isn't even really trimming them like what we trim them. And I'm not talking
Yeah,
about dressing them down or whatever, like I did on that mare in the picture, but I'm talking about just like how you would normally trim bars. She's not even removing that much. She's not really touching the frog at all.
mm-hmm.
And it's just like I mean, how lame does this mare have to be before you want to seek advice? Because she doesn't want
Yeah,
to have to learn anymore, have to do anymore. You
mm-hmm.
know, she just wants that simple. But whenever she asked this lady before she blew an abscess, they didn't know why she was so lame. They're asking the lady that's teaching and charging for these markups, and she couldn't give her an answer of what was going on or what she should
Oh
do.
no, because she
Just
don't know.
yeah, just
Because
trim more. So she
all
trimmed
she
her
did,
again. A
yeah,
week later, she trimmed her again.
yeah, all she did was do an eclectic trim of she had this, that, and the other, a Cheryl Henderson, and then she come onto ours through Ray Hannon, whose last name was Hawk then, and uh, learned about heels and saw that everybody's desperate and she could make a ton, and right away started doing markups for people. And then
Yeah.
next thing you know, she's advertising herself as a world renowned traveled clinician. when she just started trimming barely a year before, and she's in ABC Hoof Care group.
Yeah.
You know,
Is that
she's a liar and a
is it
scammer and a narcissist.
Yeah, and
And
if anybody
yeah,
else touches this mare, she's kicked out.
yeah, yep, that's what she does.
So she's afraid to get kicked out, you know, but she
Yeah,
can't tell the girl what to do. And now she's trimming this mare, rolling off everything she could possibly have once a week.
yeah, that's
And I'm
terrible.
just
She's
like,
gonna kill that horse.
I know. And she's skinny. They're dumping so much food to this mare and she keeps getting skinnier and skinnier. And I'm like, yeah,
Yeah,
that's
she's
that's
under
muscle
stress and
atrophy. She's
pain.
stressed.
Yeah,
Yeah, she's in so much pain. She's dropped tons of weight.
yep,
She's getting alfalfa and everything. And I'm just
yeah,
like, watching it is really hard. It's really hard for Amy too, because she boards there and she just keeps telling her, like, you need to just like come talk to Devin. And I've been like, hey, tell her to join. Let Linda look at her horses and tell her herself what the issue is. And then
yeah.
I told her, I
I
said, make sure you know that she learned from Linda and was only there for
yeah.
like a year.
Well, I should send her some stuff of her saying when she started trimming it. Well, you should tell her about the Beware Apex Beware page.
I know I need to find that and send it to Amy and be like, hey, you need to send this to her.
Yeah, be Apex Trim Beware.
Yeah.
See, and I can send you some illustrations I made outing her about when she started trimming, okay, and stuff. I mean, the broad is a straight up. She's one of those people. If there wasn't a hell, you'd want there to be one for her. Okay, that's the kind of nasty, horrid woman this is. Um,
Yeah. I mean, and this mare
yeah,
was underrun with long toes and she was lame. So I could see
yeah,
where like instantly this helped, but then they just took it way too
no,
far. They didn't know
but
how to control it.
this broad is a horrible frickin' person, does not know what the heck she is doing, and is only doing this for the money. See, from the start, it was how she could get money out of people. Okay. And with her, with markups when she didn't know jack snot. See, she just saw that opportunity that, oh, look at all these heels. I mean, she saw the truth of the heel thing. And then she saw how she could take monetary advantage of people. She went all over Facebook to different groups telling everybody how she was an expert and all this kind of stuff. See, she's a good marketer, okay, but she is a horrid, horrid woman. Okay, there is nothing but one horror story of her after the other, and just like you said there, she tells them, "Oh, you get anybody touch it, and I'll kick you out of my group." See, I've heard that so many times and stuff. So
Yeah, and I told her I was like, "Come hang out with me. I'll watch you trim or whatever. Look at your horses. I mean, this woman's charging you like I can't remember what Amy said, like 200 and some dollars for markups." And I'm like,
geez,
why don't you just let me like hang out with me, man? It's free. I want to help your horse. Like, I ain't trying to make money off you. Like, this horse is.
yeah,
And I thought that right there would make her go, oh, okay, well, at least this is free.
no,
But these markups are so easy for her to follow that she just wants
yeah.
to keep doing what she's doing. And she's
Well,
one of those people that doesn't want to admit that she's
it's
doing anything wrong.
it's that too. And then the freaking people like this woman, they got this air about them to where they kind of get control over people, you know. I get around people like that and I get immediately slimed. Like my skin, it's almost painful to get around a true narcissist, okay? Because boy, I'm telling you, you don't know what the hell they're going to do. All right?
Yeah.
They are false accusers. Um they oh yeah, they're horrid, horrid, you know. I'd rather go swim with sharks than be around them. Because they're destroyers. They destroy people's lives. And so if they can get you under their thumb or get any control over you at all, see, so she's got a way of manipulating people and getting control over them. See, anyway, Yeah,
it's
that's the
sad.
truth.
And the gal that owns the horse, she's also the type that like it's been going good, so she doesn't want to admit that she's doing anything
Yeah.
wrong either.
Yeah, and
So
they're just as bad,
yeah, so
you
it's sad.
know?
It's like this horse can be falling on her face.
Yep.
Like she almost had me out because the mare couldn't move and held her foot up, but she blew an abscess. So she's like, okay, no big deal. And I'm like, she blew an abscess because she has nothing but soul smashing into the corium at the tip of her coffin bone
Yeah.
and creating a huge pressure, blowout, all that broken blood vessels. And it just completely caused a huge
See,
abscess.
that's just terrible.
Cornet band.
Well,
You know?
that dumb broad learned good from Cheryl Henderson then, because that's exactly what she does.
Yeah, that's sad.
So,
I mean, I think, obviously they don't want to stand on just, like when I'm lowering a toe, I'll leave it balanced where they've got the hoof wall and the sole all together
yeah,
as one, but it shouldn't be just sole or just hoof wall, you know. But like, man,
yeah,
this is past it. I'm like, she's filing into the sole, like
yeah. See, these horse torturers out there. You know, everybody now and then is going to make a mistake. A horse is going to get sore, whatever. But you got these people like David Landerville, and then these other one. What is it? Oh gosh, they got some funky name. Prefer hooves or hoof prefers or something like that. Perfectly hooves. I don't know what their name is, but they have been brainwashed by these people to think that this soreness, you're supposed to have this soreness. You're building up the digital cushion. See, so they've got a systemized system of torture going on with people thinking they're doing the right thing, and if the horse is sore, it's good. How wicked is that? See, how serial trimmers. That's what I call them.
I
Serial
love it when you
trimmer.
call it that. Serial trimmer.
Yeah, serial trimmer
Oh, it's
and
sad.
stuff. Now, I was a serial trimmer, okay? But I kind of thought this is not right. This is not right.
I
Something's wrong
was
here.
too.
Yeah,
I would have given up if it wasn't for so many, good cases. With my horse JD, I would have just been like, nope, this isn't for me.
yeah,
But any
yeah. I would have given up. I would have given up too. But once you break something, you got
do
to
something
fix it.
else.
You know,
Fix it or
you
do
know,
something else.
and okay. I don't want people thinking I go around just uh dissing everybody all the time. But people like Anna Comaritio, okay, I had personal experience with that woman, and go to what is it? Apex Trim Beware. And it's one nasty, bad story after the next. See? And so she stole some information, but she didn't steal how to do it. Which she stole trimming the heels out, but then she just, trim the heels out, but, or don't trim the heels, rasp down the toe, don't hardly trim the bars, don't trim the frog. Charge $40 for your markups. I know she charges a lot for her markups.
Yeah.
You
I could be
know,
wrong with the 200 and something, but it was a pretty large amount.
large
Now,
amount.
now who knows how many markups that is that she was paying for?
Yeah,
Like if it was for like a year or whatever, I don't know. I don't really remember everything Amy said, but I was like, wow. I was like, well, she can join our Zoom group, learn way more, and it's free and it's
it's
fun.
free. It's free, and you can hear Linda diss trimmers. There you go.
I just saw on my Facebook
Eh, eh,
locally, people
what?
trimming, and the old Daisy B showed up as everyone's saying how wonderful she is, and I'm like ready to puke.
Yeah, I know.
And she's local to me, and I'm like, really? I mean, even people I respect as horse people are going, oh, the best there is, go learn. I'm like, do you know
Yeah,
how much
no.
it charges? And then the horse when the horse goes lame, just disappears.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
exactly right.
Yeah, that's it. Research your farrier and be like, okay, where's your clients that you've been trimming for 10 years? Where's your,
Long term.
you know?
Yeah.
Now,
Long term.
I still got people from Washington being like, I wish you were here. I had to shoe their horse because they went lame. And it's like all those people I was trimming for, like, when I left, horses I've been trimming for 10 years.
Yep.
They were all so mad when I left. I'm like, I'm sorry, I gotta move.
Yeah. It's long term, and what you find with a lot of these people is that they weren't able to fix some horses, and those people dropped away, and you never hear about any of that. You never hear about all their failures.
Yeah.
See? And if you do hear about it, it's because transition is difficult, or the horse ate something it shouldn't have, or something like that.
Was good. The
See?
woman that had the horse wouldn't buy something like thousands of dollars that she swore the horse needed.
Hmm.
And the owner said, no, I can't afford it. She disappeared.
Yep. Yep.
See, and I'm
Yeah.
so glad that I was never.
They're greedy as greedy can get.
I'm just so glad I was never like a huge internet person. I mean, other than checking my Facebook, and I'm barely even on there. I don't watch TV. I don't get online. When I wanted to learn to trim my horses, I watched several videos. I found your stuff, Linda, and I was like, okay, this woman actually makes sense. Studied all your stuff like a crazy person for 7 months before I started trimming my own horses, and then went off the grid as far as, online stuff, did my own thing. Did I run into issues with certain horses? Yeah, but it was like
Sure.
trial and error. And I just, was always like in my brain nonstop. Like, I have this issue. Let's think about how the hoof works. How's this? How's that? Figure it out. Try something. Yes, that works. That's how I'm going to do it from now on.
Yeah.
And it's just like over years of trial and error, just learned so much. And I'm just glad I was never really in. I've always had horses, but I've never really been in the horse world. And always want to do my own horses because it's cheaper. So,
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and me too. If I would have had money, we wouldn't be here.
right.
I'd have been paying somebody, and of course, then who would I go to?
Yeah.
Myself, I never came here, so there you go. So necessity is the mother of invention.
Yeah. And I had a great farrier. I mean, I think my horses were sound. I didn't have any issues with their feet. He taught me a
Mhm.
lot. I worked alongside of him for about 6 weeks,
Yeah.
but I was kind of like, yeah, I don't want to really learn how to shoe. And I was obsessed with your videos. So I'm like, I'm good. He was actually shocked at like, I'd go with him and start trimming with him, and was actually shocked at how quickly I picked it up. But,
Yeah.
you know, little did he know I've been studying your videos for months. So
Well, and you've seen me change, and I'll change tomorrow. I mean, if I find something that's wrong, we're changing. We're going to
yeah,
do something different. If even if we've been absolutely positively convinced the whole time, if I find something incorrect, we're changing. We're
yeah.
admitting it, we're changing. See, that's science, that's research. This other garbage, this nature this and nature.
Yeah.
Uh
And that's one thing I want to say about this group,
mhm.
like, especially for anybody new that's, going to chime in and watch it. Um, you know, we we know the anatomy, and we know where we want our horses to be. And
Yep.
we might not know 100% every little thing to perfectly get our horses there, but
Yeah.
we have come a long way, and we're going to keep trial and error until we figure it out. And
Yeah.
we are on the right path, and proof,
Oh,
tons of studies have proof that we're getting there, and we're just
that's
tweaking
right.
it until we find out exactly what works with what case,
Yeah. This
so
is not a method. It's more of a mission.
yeah.
We're in a mission to find the truth. And yeah, every horse's foot is an individual, or however they are always telling you that baloney, which it is. But there is one basic anatomy that you have to understand, and then be able to look at the feet to tell, well, something ain't in alignment here. How can I get this in alignment and growing correctly so that capsule can fit what I know now is the truth for the horse?
Yeah, so it's how
See?
how to get there for each
Yeah.
deformity. How do we make this deformity go back to that?
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
exactly.
And each trim is different. The way you handle it is different. How much you take here, how much you take there.
Yeah,
And
it's
it's just
different every
learning.
time. Just because we got a mapping deal, that's just a ballpark thing. There's so much that even goes into that.
Yeah.
What you're thinking. And like, okay, we're looking at something right here. Kathy, are you there? Hello?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, so let's take a look here at what you got going here.
I sent you two sets of pictures. So this is
Okay,
from the recent trim, and the first set of pictures I sent you was before we got started, so you could see the where we started and where we are
okay,
currently.
okay, let me go here. So let's see. Okay, well, should I start with the last one loaded or the first one?
I sent them today. So where is the go to the next one up? Nope, nope, nope.
This one?
So these are from his original pictures, June of 2024.
Okay. Let's see here.
They're
Wow.
jumbled because I didn't have a good set routine of taking pictures as I.
It's okay. I don't have to have perfect pictures anymore. You know.
But we
Um
our concern when we talked the other time was
mhm.
that from like this picture to the ones I had sent you, which was the trim before the one that I just did and sent those pictures, that he looks more contracted in the back.
Yeah.
So just
Well,
looking at these, and then when we look at the next ones to see what we see. But these were taken probably 8 weeks after the farrier had trimmed him last.
okay.
It might have even been longer than that, but before I just grow and do whatever before I got myself organized to start trimming.
Okay. See, all of these, this is really interesting. I know that that has to be a periopal frog,
Yes.
you know, and that his bulbs are just twisted in like that, which is what caused him to get laminitis
Well,
because all that
he is also metabolic, so
oh, I'm sure he is that too. Because now what are his back feet like?
his back feet aren't terrible.
Are,
Definitely better. Our biggest thing is he's got flare on one of them that
okay.
I get under
D
control, and then I get more concentrated on the front feet, and then the flare comes back. And anyway, but
oh yeah, I know I have a foot like that too. Hi. Yeah. Okay, so okay, let's keep looking here. Yeah, see, uh, and see, but now my belief is that once they go mechanical, the pain and all that causes a metabolic. This was in 24. And of course, she had a farrier that kept rasping down
yeah,
the
yeah,
dorsal
yeah, yeah.
wall, right?
Got to get his toe back. And that's before I realized it wasn't his toe that needed to come back; his whole foot needed to come back.
Yeah. And now this is
This
current.
trim has been a little over a week ago.
Okay. Now, what's interesting here is look at that, okay, compared to that. That's quite a change. That shows a lot of really good growth came in. He hasn't got that separation in the wall like he did have. But it looks like at some point here, it's going to be time to take back some of this toe a
So
little
he's
more.
already started breaking the center of his toe back a quarter of an inch
Good.
on my trimming again. So I just go to that quarter-inch line and trim him. So he's already telling me that toe needs to come back. So that's
You
what
know,
I.
I want to show you a picture here. Just a minute here. Oh, I got to figure out where it's at. Ah, okay.
Oh, that's great. That's
Just a
amazing.
second. I got to figure out where it's at. Hold on. Da, 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 da. Um, let's see. Okay.
How's that horse moving in this time change?
So he on and off. He sound typically on softer ground, and even on harder ground and on asphalt. But when you put him on rocks, he struggles. And the amount that he struggles can vary to I can walk him across gravel without boots to like he just has to have boots on to walk across the gravel. But like on soft ground, he'll trot. He's sound. So he's typically on his sole. He's not doesn't bear weight on his hoof wall because the his foot's so curled. You know, he does not break over his toe of his wall. He breaks over his sole. And I've had problems with the heels curling because he steps on the back of his heel, not just land heel first. He would land behind his heel, and so then his heels curled under. Um, so I was, and he's bowed a tendon. He's had tendon issues along the way, especially as he's gotten older. So I started flattening the heels enough that he could land flatter on his heels, and that seemed to help him a lot. Um, I couldn't see how those heels were going to move back if he kept curling them forward.
Yeah. Now you got it. Did you ever get x-rays on him?
Yes.
And how much damage do you have to his coffin bone? I don't
So the
remember.
right has always been the worst, and it's 10 degrees rotation,
Okay.
and has improved from time to time. This last founder that he had, which was before I started doing the tact, he actually rotated his left coffin bone 8 degrees.
Okay. But as far as wearing the toe down and all that.
So the toe of the coffin bone has just got ski tip to it, so there's not
Okay.
damage to the tip.
See, that is really good.
Yeah.
Okay. That means that this wall can grow down and connect with the sole in the right
And
spot.
and coming through the winter, I really struggle. I should probably send you those pictures. And his foot just totally got away from me. It was so out in front of him, and what I had pulled together, pulled the wall together to it was going to be a white line. It just got out of control, and so I'm just now getting him back where he's coming back together again.
Okay. Now, this foot here that we're looking at here, is that this foot? Or, well, let's see, what foot would that
They
be?
should
That'd be
all
the
be right and the left are all together.
left front, left front. So let's see, left
Yeah,
front.
those last pictures I didn't label.
Okay, so yeah, that's the left
Yeah,
front. Okay, so what I always worry about is if I take off the whole toe, it's not going to hold together on a laminating course.
yeah.
And uh, you do not want the wall growing down and not connecting with the toe because there's damage to the laminar serum line thing going on that ejects uh stuff into the hoof wall so it connects with the sole. Um, so I'm going to show you a picture. You're going to think it's kind of funny, but uh, it might be something. I mean, I see you're really good at making these notches. So this might be something you could try. Again, this is a research deal. This is just from what I've learned about uh these these laminating feet and their reaction to different things. Okay, and about self-trimming. And even here, look at this. How this horse self-trimmed. Just a minute here. Um, let me undo this. Let me stop share for a second. Oh, well, am I even on here anywhere? Ah, there I am.
Yep.
Okay, so let me pin that. Okay, so look at the way this horse is self-trimming. how he trims off half his toe, but leaves half. See that?
Yep.
I think that's pretty smart because this side of the toe works as a prosthetic to keep the whole toe together so that if he breaks this side off and there's any compromise, this side's holding it together so this is growing down. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yep.
Now I'm going to show you a picture of something here. Just a second here. I made this meme because I thought it was pretty cool. Because this horse's feet are actually way better than what you would think. And he self-trimmed them himself. See, I called this horse and self-trim. Not as horrible as you may be thinking, but look how it broke off here, but that gives this time to repair and suck back in, while kind of still holding everything together. And then he'll probably break this piece off. But do you kind of see what I'm getting at? I
Yeah.
mean, this is extreme, okay? But I think on that foot you could scribe some of that sole back and then take off part of that toe.
Or just put those big bricks in the pasture.
Yeah. Yeah, you could do that.
Can I share just a little bit of some of the stuff that I've done with
Sure.
foundered horses and toes?
Yes, because you may have better ideas than me. So please go.
Oh, I wouldn't say better ideas. And actually, I would say that having dealt with a severely foundered horse in the beginning of my career who had low heels and absolutely a toe that didn't grow. So you had the very, very pinched uh, rings at the toe and the very wide fanned out wings at the heel. Okay, and tons of bar and tons of frog. That's what that mare had. And coming in, I was also dealing with this lady that had had horrible issues with farriers. So it was kind of like, that was the last time I would ever trim a horse where the owner told me what to do. But I'm thinking I'm coming out every 6 weeks. She's paying me, whatever. But the horse wasn't getting any better. But after what I've learned from tact in the last almost a year, I look back on that case and now know exactly what I needed to do. That mare needed her toe to not be touched and her heels to not be touched. She needed more heels. She needed her bars and her frogs removed and that toe to be left alone. But she had no toe. Now in this case, you have a toe that is long and flared out. So what's happened is your hoof wall has released that serum Linda has talked about to glue the lamina and the sole and the hoof wall together, to hold things together. Now, when this happens, you have tons of false sole that builds up, gets really thick. Like the whole hoof will seem like it grows, but you don't have any hoof wall growing past the sole. And when the toe gets long like that, it starts to pull things forward, which contracts your heels. So that's why in a case like this, if you were to be digging out frog and heel, even though you're getting heels on the horse, if you're digging out a lot of frog and bar, the heel may contract even more because your growth is still wanting to be forward. So, but there's also this balancing act like we talk about, because if you have a laminar wedge and you go in there and you hack that toe off, you remove all the connection that's holding everything forward and your coffin bone can rotate more. But in this case, it looks like this hoof has reached a point where it's actually it's ready to have some relief in that front in order to allow the growth to come out the back. But because your horse is already a little bit lame, you'd want to tread lightly on removing that toe. So if you look at this foot is actually telling you it's ready by one thing you can very well see. And in some of my videos, I've talked about a stress line. So if you look at the bottom of that toe, and especially if you go back to the other picture that you were just showing, Linda.
Okay, now before you say anything, I want you to know that she probably took a rasp and did
Yeah,
that.
I grooved him there.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
So it's not a normal
Yeah, I grooved
stress
him
line.
to release those horn tubules. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So I'm driving, so I can't really
that
see
blew
Yeah.
that theory apart. I'm
It
just
did
kidding.
because
I'm just
normally
kidding.
when we watch these videos, I will zoom in and look, but I'm driving, so I'm
No,
just kind of
that's okay.
talking.
Hey,
Okay,
don't be looking at this when you're driving.
I'm mostly just listening and I'm just glancing and looking. I'm not watching, okay?
Okay.
But
But
it's literally on the side of my head, kind of, and I just kind of glance and I'm like, okay, that's the picture we're talking about.
yeah, but he
But
has recently started breaking the center of his toe out on at least 1 foot between trims.
Oh, okay.
So
the
that
center,
Good for him.
like in a crack or a chunk.
no, just a chunk right out of the center of his toe.
Oh, that's interesting.
And
That's good.
I have felt over time, well before this, that I really needed to bring that toe back more. To me, just I'm very intuitive kind of thing sometimes, and so I just really felt, but I knew I didn't want to take too much toe off because we needed the toe, but the back of the foot was just not moving, and so I did start taking the toe back just a little at
Yeah.
each trim and doing it really, really slowly. And this is
God.
the kind of the point. In the last 2 trims, he did broke out that 1/4 inch piece, and that I just took his toes back that 1/4 inch each
There you go.
time.
Perfect, because he
But
relieved it. So I guess for education purposes, let's pretend like you didn't put that notch in or that line in there. Or how long ago did you put it in there? Just recently or was it a
no,
while
this
ago?
would have been 2 trims ago, so over
Okay.
a month ago.
Okay, so so it was a bit higher up in the hoof wall.
Yes, yes.
So we'll say whether that's a deep growth ring that's grown out and reached the bottom and it started, basically what happens is when the hoof gets down to the bottom of the hoof, the connection only goes so far. And then the hoof, if it's too long, will start to bend and increase that stress line. So you'll have like a line where you can almost see like where the hoof should almost end and what is growing past that. So whether it's where you put that line or like a stress line of like where the hoof just wants to start bending towards the bottom. So basically what that tells you is that your hoof wall to internal foot connection is tight to about that point, and everything past then is just leverage that's bendable. See, and when you have bendable, because these horses' hooves are all, even though they feel hard to us, there is some bend and flexion that can happen in there. These horn tubules move against each other. So when you have that lip of hoof wall still hanging on by false sole that's got that serum gluing it all together, you have that lip that's there, and any movement, whether they're breaking over or running like barrel horses, if they're running sideways one way or the other, they end up with stone bruises. Well, it's actually a lip of hoof wall that has bent and crushed blood vessels in the internal hoof wall because they have that excess leverage where the sole has grown outside of the bowl of the sole, and so now the rim is no longer supported by where the sole should be. It's stretched out, and serum and false sole has built up. So in this case, and you can see where he's standing, where the toes rolled up. So at that point, it's not even giving you any structural stability. It's
Yeah,
just there.
he's not been breaking. He's ever since I started this, he was not breaking over his toe. He's on his sole.
Yeah.
So as his foot breaks over, it breaks over on that lump of sole on his toe, and he
Yeah.
never breaks over the wall at all.
But that ski toe is from that motion.
Yeah.
As he rolls it, it's pushing it up. So you could see, like from the side view, the toe's not touching the ground, which is good, which will help include that, continue that straight growth down. But as he's walking, that leverage of deformed hoof hanging on is also kind of encouraging your new growth to follow that. And
Yeah.
so what I'm saying is, if you were just to, and because a lot of times if you're dealing with foundered horses, I won't touch the bottom of the hoof just in case, because anything you disrupt down there can make them even sorer. So like in the case of Dan, when I took him, his feet were very sore. He was very short and he was walking on his soles, but there was areas of the hoof wall that had to be relieved to relieve the jamming and try to get this hoof capsule to start moving back in place. So I pulled its hoof forward and I just removed it from the top. So and straight down, not dressing it. Like you got one picture where it looks like the whole hoof was shaved, and that'll create bull nosing and all sorts of problems. So
that was the farrier did that. Yes.
yeah,
Oh,
so
so
just
You're just talking about taking it straight back like a fourth of an inch, maybe to start.
Yeah, maybe just where you can
Just
see where it's
taking a
bending.
little bit of leverage off. Okay.
Yeah, and what I'm telling you that will do is it'll start to encourage, because you have leverage there that's still encouraging the hoof to want to pull forward. And you still have that proof of that because you have the false sole all glued and growing out with it. So
Yeah.
by slowly encouraging that to come back more, what's going to happen is, and the great part is when you finally reach a point where that tight connection, right? That tight connection coming straight down is almost reached halfway. So that's why the bottom part is going to really start falling apart on you. So, you're going to lose any integrity you have. There's not going to be any support in that toe. It's just going to become a leverage point. And I'm not saying hack it all off, because you don't want to disrupt any connection, but you can remove what is a leverage point that's no longer connected. And so by removing that, it's going to stop any leverage that's pulling your new growth forward and going to allow it to continue to come down straight. And once it reaches a point where it comes down straight enough, it's going to tighten up down towards the bottom, and your internal foot will be able to move back, and all that false sole will come out. And next thing you know, you're like, oh my God, I have chalky, live, healthy. The chalkiness is all the dead false sole coming out. You almost have a layer of like false sole, and then you can see a layer between the two, and it's chalky in between where you got false sole coming out and live sole. And you'll usually see chunks coming out right around the toe in front of the apex of your frog. So like all of a sudden that'll start coming out, and then you'll start having all this hoof wall, and you're like, whoa, I got all this hoof wall that's no longer connected to anything. And so then you'll want to slowly kind of like take that away. And but anyways, just that toe looks like it's ready for a little bit of that leverage removal, so that that tight growth is not being pulled forward and can come down your coffin bone. And when it gets tight enough, it will allow the internal foot to move. And when all of that is right, your foot will start to release what it doesn't need anymore. And that's a good thing. So yay. But anyways, that's what I see.
Yeah,
Sounds good.
so we're in the right track, and it's going to look worse, even though it's better. But it looks worse as he starts to shed all that he doesn't need anymore.
Yes, because from the side view, you can see that you have healthy connection from your coronet band to about halfway. So you have almost what's going on. The difference between some of them crumbling and getting separated and yours is you have all that false sole still hanging on, trying to keep everything held together, right? Because that's what it does to protect itself. Where like some of these horses, their soles have already come back. They're where they're supposed to be. So it's just excess hoof wall. So allowing that, and then when that happens, when you no longer have any pull forward, then your heels are going to be allowed to uncurl. They're going to be allowed to widen up, so everything will start coming out the back instead of being pulled forward. And it's a slow process. I'm not saying go hack it off at once.
Oh, I get you. I mean, like I said, I've been doing this with him for over a year now, so I mean, I know and I think it's done really well in a year's time.
Oh yeah, no, looking
Yeah.
at that foot, I'm just like,
I think
wow,
you've done great.
that's the after picture compared to what you showed before. Yeah.
Yeah.
I just wanted to throw in my like, you
Oh,
don't
no.
want to disrespect.
But
Yeah.
I have felt like he needed his toe to come back more, but then I was afraid to do anything to, and he's typically always been very thin soled. But since I started doing tact, it just seems like there's a lot of sole there now compared to where he used to be. But then I was afraid to take too much sole off of him because like I said, he's sound on soft ground. And I mean, we have gravel all around our barn. So when he has to walk across that gravel,
And he's gimpy.
he's got to have boots on. And sometimes he's good. He'll go through periods where he can walk across it, just walk slow. But he has other times where I just have to put the boots on him to get him across the gravel. So,
Yeah. And I wouldn't worry about removing sole, because once you get the capsule and everything in place, that sole, if you cannot touch your sole and just trim your horse's hoof correctly, the sole will maintain itself. You know what I mean? So you get that right, that false sole will eventually start coming out on you. And then when it does, it'll be where it needs to be. So, you don't want to touch the sole if you don't have to.
And I don't do a lot with the sole. I'll just take the rough laid over bar off and just sort of take the grinder and go over the top of his sole and just smooth it out.
Yeah. Oh, definitely take the bar and
Yeah.
frog for sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. I did a little mark up here showing you where some bar that you're gonna have to take out.
Yeah.
This here, this, see that chunk there?
Yeah.
And then this one here, because in looking at the back of this foot too, and at the frog, the length of the frog, it does look, you still are foot bound in the back
Yeah.
as well. So that's going to have an effect on everything too, as far as the dorsal wall going forward, because all that anatomy's in there still pushing on that coffin joint, I think, and pushing it forward. Let's see here. But yeah. And you can see here too, you've got some wall.
That's
that
what
you
I was just saying. I was looking at
Yeah.
that going, oh, well, actually, you could remove all that wall.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you
Yeah.
also are losing your support. So by removing that, you will leave him walking on his sole, but it's growing out. It's not
Well,
going
he's
down.
not walking over that wall anyway.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's what I'm
it's
saying.
growing
Yeah.
vertical
Yeah, so that's why I'm saying I
or
would just
horizontal.
remove it. Yeah, because it's still leverage and it's still wanting to pull things forward. I bet you once you remove that and then, like Linda says, remove some more of those bars and
Yeah.
everything,
Yeah.
you'll see a significant shift back in your capsule.
Yeah, I think so. I think it'll help in the dorsal wall especially.
Yeah.
Um let's see here. Okay.
But like this is the kind of toe where if you like take it down and you rasp it flat, it doesn't remove that because it's growing vertical. So this is the type
Oh,
of toe where you almost have
they're
to
the
round it
hardest
some.
ones.
Yeah, because you
The
have to roll it to relieve it, but they're not, it's not stabilizing the foot anyways. So it's
Yeah.
like, but they may still be a little more tender. So this is the one area where I have found where sometimes there's tenderness. And so not that you want it, but I mean, if you're dealing with a hoof like this, it's almost inevitable when you reach this
Yeah.
point.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, and I'm used to it. He's used to it. I don't get upset if he gets, he's not foundered lame. So
Yeah.
he's just tender. And I mean, I'm okay with that, because he's either in the stall on shavings and he goes out in sand. So, it's getting from the stall to the sand and from the sand to the stall that we just have to struggle with over the rocks.
Yeah, and it usually is just on rocks. So
Yeah,
if if
remember,
there's sound off rocks, that's fine.
I mean, he'll trot without his boots on. He can trot down the asphalt.
that
Um,
is
That's
so,
good.
but
So
he just
you
can't do the rocks.
you have brought in sand for him to stand
So
in.
he has a very large round pen because he can't go out in grass, and I don't really have a dry lot, so the round pen is but it's large.
Yeah.
And it's right next to another pasture where all the mares are. So he has this whole harem of mares that he flirts with all the time. And when he's in the barn, he's next to my other horse that have been together since my other horse was a young horse. So he's always got a buddy wherever he is, even though he's not out with anybody. But yeah, so the round pen is sand. And so he's in
And
sand.
so he walks good in sand, doesn't he?
Oh, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, that's good.
When we're done here, I got something I want to share. It's pretty
Linda,
interesting. What?
When you take that toe back, are you holding the rasp straight up and down?
Yeah, straight up and down. You're not doing a bevel. You're just taking off some of that vertical length is all.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. But doing it from the top tends to not disrupt your sole. So you still kind of leave whatever hardness you have.
Yeah, which if you can, me personally, I can take a rasp and turn it up the other way around and pull it towards me and take off the toe straight across without beveling it.
Yeah.
Or thinning down the wall and all that. It's just however you're just taking off. Well, where's that other picture here? Boy, doesn't this foot look familiar, Roberta?
Sure does.
She's got the twin mare to your horse.
Yep, that's right.
So you see how you would like she's already taken it pretty straight. It's not beveled really. So just taking a little more of that. Look at that. See where you put the thing, it's almost grown out. The
The
what you would call it.
groove, I grew where I
Yeah,
grooved him.
groove.
Yeah.
The groove.
That's why I picked that place to do the groove.
Yeah. And so yeah, not a lot, just,
Yeah.
a little bit and stuff. But also no, if anybody wants to try this self-trim thing, I'm gonna try it as soon as I get a chance. I got a horse I know I'm gonna try it on. Anyway, so okay, so I find it interesting. So so Roberta, is there anything you see here and similar in your horse that you'd like us to look at and think about too?
Well, that self-trim hoof. I thought,
Yeah,
because you know that I was going to let her go.
yeah,
And I didn't touch her for probably 2 months.
yeah.
So we're starting over
Oh, okay.
type deal. And
Okay.
I thought about doing the hoof you just showed, the self-trim hoof. I
Mm-hmm.
thought about doing that to her foot.
Well,
Can't hurt.
can't hurt. And
Taking it off anyway.
yeah,
But the choice of what side to start out with is kind of where I'm not sure which side to start out with.
hmm. Okay, well, why don't
Well,
you take some pictures and we'll look at it. I'll get with you on Messenger and stuff,
okay. Yep.
and I'll help you, okay?
Perfect.
Okay.
All right.
So we're gonna experiment with the weird way horses self trim. Um, I'll show you. Kathy, did you
Yeah.
get enough information to
I
go
I
for now?
did. I did.
Okay.
And I
And
think
Devin, I
that
want to thank you for participating and all your
yes,
help as well.
that was very, very helpful.
Yes, it was.
I think this will be really interesting if Roberta does this to try that. I mean, that's where you got the doing the notch thing, right?
Kathy's gonna let you try it first, Roberta.
Yeah. I'll
You
be
know,
interested to see
and
how it
and
goes.
irregardless, if it ever comes to the point where poor Cheyenne has to be put down, I'll ask you right now if maybe you might send me her feet.
I sure would.
Because man,
I,
I could really learn something from that.
mm-hmm.
And also anybody else, if you hear of any horses being put down and you don't want to feed and you can get them, and you got to take them down at the first knuckle here, the
Yeah,
pastern.
I've been
Okay.
thinking about that and how I'm going to tell my vet to take them off after it's put down. So maybe we need a protocol for that.
Yeah,
Linda, I have 8 hooves where I had to put down Bill's horses
you
last year.
do.
I do.
Well, see, I've had people freeze them and then just get those coolers, those coolers like they send meds in and stuff, or even put a cooler in a box with some dry ice and send them to me.
Okay.
Yeah, that'd
I'll
be
see what I can do.
fabulous because they're pathological feet, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be absolutely wonderful.
Yeah.
Because see, I've got some feet I'm gonna be dissecting the next couple days. One is I can't remember which feet it was, but it was off of horses being trimmed, either barefoot trimmed or maybe not, maybe it was tack trimmed. But
Mm-hmm.
then I got the feet off all them standard breds that self trimmed. See, and gonna take the capsules off of them. So,
Okay.
but yeah, I wanted you and me to definitely get together on
Okay.
Cheyenne
Yep.
and try this. Eh, 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 you never know, you
I'm
know.
willing,
Okay.
minute.
Well, we'll tentatively try it in
Yeah.
that if it looks like if I think something wouldn't be good, then no. or something or whatever.
Okay.
But yeah, let's do that. So when do you want to do that?
Actually, I'm going to the barn tonight and I'm
Okay.
take her boots off and just get some pictures.
Okay, that'll be great. And so do you tomorrow, the next day, when?
I
In
can
the
get with,
evening?
yeah, tomorrow would be great.
Okay, so why don't we get together tomorrow evening
Okay.
and look at the pictures and try and make a game plan there.
I won't touch her or do anything. I'll just take some pictures and we'll just
Okay.
go from there.
Okay, sounds good.
Okay.
Sounds good.
Thank
Hey,
you.
Linda, I had a quick question.
Sure.
So, when dealing with metabolic horses, do you think that it's possibly the fact that the feet got out of whack and have mechanical issues, and it's the chronic pain and stress and the cortisol and everything that causes the metabolic issue?
Oh, I'm all for that. I am 100% on that issue.
That's
I
that's what
I I
that's what I
realize
think too.
it could be metabolic first, but I don't think in most cases, I flat don't think so, simply because of these trims. I know these trims, I know what they mechanically do to the foot, that they induce mechanical laminitis, that they have this condition for a long time. And so they're in pain for a long time. I mean, look at that mare you did.
Yeah.
Holy Hannah,
Yeah, I
in
mean, I've
pain.
trimmed horses that had, Cushing's or insulin resistance with fatty pockets all over their body. You knew they had a metabolic issue and they were fat, but they had perfect feet. They didn't have an
Yeah,
issue with their feet. So I'm like, does a metabolic issue even really bother the feet? Or perhaps is it all just mechanical in the first place and these feet get so necrotic because the hoof's doing everything it can to glue itself together, and then you
yep,
got people hacking heels off and the feet are rotating. You got all these things going on. And it's easier for a farrier to be like, metabolic, but I'm like, I'm not so sure. And they might end up that way because chronic pain and stress is definitely going to raise cortisol and cause issues with the horse being able to become malnourished, to be able to not be able to absorb things better. So I
yep.
sometimes wonder. Anyways, that's just my thought. I've seen really bad Cushing's and insulin resistant horses that had no problems with their feet. So,
But I
Yeah,
mean, if you look at those horses, every horse I know that is metabolic Cushing's, if you look at their feet, they are contracted and they are heel bound.
but maybe they would have
yeah.
been
See,
anyways, regardless of their metabolic issues. You know what I mean? Because look at how many are that way that aren't metabolic. I
but
mean, I'm just saying
but
it's
yeah,
something to think
because they're
about.
trimmed into that.
Yeah.
See,
I mean,
uh,
I
yeah,
personally
they're
never
trim. Oh, go
metabolic
ahead.
with good feet. Good feet. I mean, it's hard to find good feet to begin with, but let alone on a metabolic horse. And I look at
Yeah,
feet because I'm in an area with so many horses, different farriers. I go to all these different barns. I have yet to see a metabolic or Cushing's horse without at least a front feet being totally laminitic or foundered. I keep looking. I have yet to see
Yeah.
one.
My horse is a super easy keeper. When Pete Ramey saw him, he said that he was going to be a Cushing's horse if I didn't trim him better and take him off alfalfa. But he's on alfalfa now and full feed. I mean, free access to Bermuda 24/7. But my point is, since I've been letting his heels grow out, since the back of his foot has been developing, he is nowhere near as heavy as he used to be. Thank you,
isn't that
Linda.
isn't that interesting?
Well,
Absolutely wonderful.
I will say that my pony is a hard keeper. He didn't necessarily used to be when he was younger, but right now I struggle to keep weight on him. And he is Cushing's and insulin resistant. So there are some anomalies in that. And I can't feed him, like you would have seen your horse that needed to gain weight because it would founder him probably. So, but he also, I did low level eventing with him. So from a young age, I started him and jumping and conditioning work. And so I didn't over pounding, but, pounding the ground, which makes sense. He was shod by a traditional farrier. So and he's always was a cheeky pony. He loved to buck. So some of that makes sense that he was uncomfortable, and would have been stressed and that kind of thing. So
Yeah. Well, I can say that I haven't really seen any horses with good feet where I live now. Um, and I know I think it's maybe just the dry climate. I don't know, but in Washington there was a lot of good feet. But I remember before I was a farrier, my mom had a horse named Babe. She was a paint mare with Cushing's, and she had great feet. Her feet were normal, and she never had any issues with her feet. I never was trimming her. And then I had a client with a horse named Nova who had Cushing's, and she was a woolly mammoth. She had to shave her, but I trimmed her almost my whole career, and she had normal feet. So, yeah. But she did have a pony with insulin resistance who was foundered, and then I started trimming him and got him better. So he was kind of ones where he had to like maintain his feet to keep them normal. Otherwise, they'd start to grow right back into the. But he wasn't lame. So, I mean, I have seen a few that their feet were fine, even though they had Cushing's or insulin resistance, but they weren't like horrible cases. So, anyways.
Yeah, it'd be interesting because Dolly ended up with full-blown laminitis, all 4 feet, within the first year that I owned her before I started tact. And it was the following year then when I started tact, and she still has chronic subclinical laminitis, almost always has slightly to significant pedal pulses. The lab test done a year ago, she was borderline metabolic, but not definitely. So I do have her on a metabolic supplement I just started a few weeks ago to see if that makes a difference for her. But yeah, she's one of those. She's definitely an easy keeper. I mean, she can look at hay and gain weight. So
Yeah.
uh-huh.
Sounds like me.
and Chance
Oh,
has
You
that
eat
was
hay
ice
too, huh,
cream.
Linda?
Never mind.
yeah.
Linda,
Chance
you look at hay and gain weight, right?
Yeah, I look at hay and cry.
yeah Chance has found her
Knowing I'm
Chance
gonna have to be spending money on something my horses won't eat.
and
No kidding.
Chance has been foundered in all 4 feet at least twice. So
Fortunately,
you never know when they found her in the
Dolly
front.
hadn't foundered. Dolly hadn't foundered and she hasn't rotated. I have x-rays done every spring and she hasn't rotated, but yeah, her feet are an issue.
Yeah, they can be foundered in the back and you not know it because they're so much more painful on their front than their back. But he's definitely been.
Yeah, I trimmed a donkey that was foundered on all 4 feet a long time ago. But I think a lot of his was just they never trimmed his feet, so it was all mechanical.
And Dolly had long toes, low heels when I bought her. So was it mechanical? Was it metabolic? Who knows?
I don't know.
Well, I think
No.
that DSLD is caused by trimming heels out. No, I just had to be controversial. Okay. Well, ladies, I want to show you something. And mm, but then I couldn't find it. It was this. I was going to show you this self-trimming foot, but now I can't find it. So
It's kind of like
instead, what?
I said it's kind of like body mechanics. Was it the injury that deformed the hoof, or was the deformed hoof what caused the injury?
Yeah, exactly. Hold on, I'm going to look for this thing,
So which came first, the chicken or the egg?
the chicken or the egg.
I know, right?
They actually done
Maybe
research.
both.
They actually have done research though, and they say the chicken had to come first
Yep.
because the chicken has developed something that creates the shell that has to happen in the body. So they've decided now that since they've discovered that particular thing, that the chicken had to come first because there couldn't be an egg without the chicken.
Right.
Makes
That's
sense to
it. That's
me.
exactly it. Yes.
Yeah, that makes sense to me.
God made the chicken who
Oh.
laid the egg.
So we got to start with the chicken.
Yeah.
Answers in
So
Genesis.
where did that chicken come from? Where did that chicken come from? It just blew out of the sky. No.
The next several slides will describe what to do when a child discloses abuse.
What is that? Somebody didn't have their mute on. Just a minute. Well, I guess I'm done. I was looking for something I was going to show you. Just a minute though. Maybe I'll find it. Um, let's see here. Let me go to my downloads because I kind of wanted to show you a couple things as we sign off here. Just a second here. Where are we at? Downloads. Oh my God. Okay, so I'm working on this Jackson contradictions timeline. Do. And a history. Let me see if this I was gonna show it to see if it made sense to you. Okay. Here we go. Okay, I'm gonna show you because this is the format that this is kind of gonna be done in, but this is also making the whatchamacallit, just when you're getting everything together so you can present it, whatever that calls the outline of
Is this
things.
something that you want on YouTube?
Yeah, I don't care about this. Or, well, maybe not. Let me sign off of there. I don't want them to know what's coming. I don't want them to know. Don't let that camp know. Let's see. Now I just got to figure out how to, let's get stop share, get into more.